Chapter 1271. In terms of strength, the Lu family currently had 2 5th-stage fulfillment realm cultivators, 1 old tree, and over 300 fulfillment realm cultivators. The Wu family's strength was about the same, but they still had 100 assassins and 2 fort masters of the Flying Scorpion stronghold. Before the battle even started, the members of the Lu family already knew their fate. At this time, Yi Xian's eyes flashed as he mixed in with the crowd of disciples. The two families were not on good terms, but they fought to the point of life and death. This was a world where the strong were respected. For the sake of profit, anything was possible. However, he did not plan to stand by and watch. He was prepared to make a big scene. Old Tree had already obtained many benefits. As long as he gave them to him, he could break through to the 3rd stage of the fulfillment realm. At that time, there would not be many people present who could stop him. He might be the one who benefited the most today, and not the 2 fort masters of the Flying Scorpion stronghold. Lu Yuanhang is now my man. Although Lu Tiangong has a grudge against me, I will stand with the Lu family today. After all, Lu Tiangong will be killed by me. Yi Xian thought in his heart. When Mo Shui died at his hands, Nalan Bing was furious. This was everyone's temper. If they had a grudge against them, they would want to kill them with their own hands to vent their anger. If they died at the hands of others, this anger would continue to accumulate, which was not good for their state of mind. Yi Xian's plan was very simple. He would help the Lu family win this battle, then settle the score with Lu Tiangong and ask about the mysterious underworld duo demons. At this time, the atmosphere was very tense. The disciples of the Green Sun Sword sect had all retreated far away, afraid that they would be affected. No one would have thought that such a big battle would occur in the Green Sun Sword sect. Moreover, it was between their own people and the experts of the Flying Scorpion stronghold. However, in their hearts, they all thought that the Lu family would lose. Seeing that no one had made a move yet, Yi Xian quickly moved closer to the old tree. When the battle began, he would immediately break through to the 3rd stage of the fulfillment realm and kill everyone. All Wu family members, listen to my order. Kill. After a few seconds of silence, Wu Junying shouted out loud. Immediately, all of the Wu family members rushed towards the Lu family. At the same time, the group of assassins also acted according to the situation. Flying Scorpion, Poison Scorpion, you two stop Lu Tiangong and Lu Heng. When the battle began, the Wu family ancestor, Wu Qianshan, shouted loudly and rushed in another direction. This direction was the old tree's giant wood protection enchantment. Wu Qianshan was like a lamp that had run out of oil. After this battle, he would lose some of his lifespan, so he had to obtain the immortal spring water. Azure Sun Break. Wu Qianshan, who was at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm, immediately channeled his lifeblood true energy and attacked the giant wood barrier. Boom! The sword light pierced through the air and landed on the giant tree protection barrier, breaking many of the tough branches. However, after these branches were broken, they quickly recovered. What a strong recovery ability! Wu Qianshan's face sank. At this moment, another figure flashed over. Big brother, let me help you. Wu Qianshan's younger brother, Wu Qianxue, came to help. The Lu family only had 2 5th-level fulfillment realm experts, so the 2 fort masters of the Flying Scorpion stronghold were enough to stop them. Therefore, Wu Qianshan wanted to kill the old tree first. After that, the situation would be more or less stabilized. In their hearts, the old tree's combat strength was probably not as good as Lu Heng's, so they wanted to kill him first. However, they were wrong. Ha ha ha, my giant tree protection enchantment is not something that just anyone can break. The old tree's loud laughter came from the giant tree nest. At the same time, Yi Xian had also arrived. Then, the old tree hastily broke open a hole and let Yi Xian in. Little young master, this is for you. Go on a killing spree. The old tree tossed all the things he obtained from Lu Tiangong to Yi Xian. All right, old tree, be careful. Yi Xian nodded and directly swallowed the items that were worth 100,000 fulfillment pills. Ding! The host has broken through. The host is currently at the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm. The system notification caused Yi Xian's strength to undergo a tremendous change. He was at the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm, so it shouldn't be a problem for him to deal with someone at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm. However, don't forget that he still had the slaughter feast and other trump cards. Ding! The host has triggered a random quest. Kill 100 Wu Family Fulfillment Realm experts by yourself, and make sure that no more than 100 Lu Family Fulfillment Realm experts die. Reward for completing the quest: all targets will experience a breakthrough once. Another system notification sounded, and Yi Xian was stunned. This was the first time he had seen a random quest like this. However, the reward was too tempting. All targets could experience a breakthrough once. This meant that the old tree could break through to the 6th level of the fulfillment realm after the quest was completed. I must kill 100 Wu family experts by myself, and make sure that no more than 100 Lu family fulfillment realm experts die. Yi Xian quickly thought in his mind. The Wu family was mentioned in the quest, which meant that it didn't include assassins. Therefore, he had to focus on the Wu family. As long as he killed 100 Wu family members by himself, the battle was more or less over. No matter how many Lu family members died, he probably wouldn't lose more than 100. Wei Zhentian, don't use Blade Storm this time, Yi Xian said in his mind. Wei Zhentian's Blade Storm was an ultimate move. This quest looked a little troublesome, but it was actually very simple. Don't forget, there was still Luo. Yi Xian immediately left the giant tree protection barrier. Now it was time for him to show off his skills. Come, Dark Night Sky. Yi Xian's eyes flashed. In the next moment, the sky started to darken. Dark Night Sky was the reward of the random quest in the Wood Spirit primitive world where he destroyed the Great Bacterial Empire. It could turn the sky into night, and it had a cooldown of 1 day. This way, Yi Xian would have the passive effect of the assassination state. What's going on? Why did the sky turn dark? Everyone be careful. Everyone around was shocked. Why did the sky suddenly become covered with dark clouds? Moreover, it was incomparably dark, without a trace of light. Fortunately, the ones fighting were all Fulfillment Realm experts with spiritual senses, so they could still fight. Feast of Slaughter. Yi Xian hid in the darkness, and the passive effect of the assassination state took effect. His combat strength and speed were both significantly improved. Kill. After he roared in his mind, he also charged out. At the same time, Luo also appeared and used the Eye of Enchantment. The appearance of this large pink eyeball under the night sky attracted everyone's attention. Chapter 1272. Kill. Luo gave the order directly. Immediately, ambushes appeared within the Wu family. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Rays of sword energy pierced through the air. The controlled Wu family experts began to attack their own people. Under the circumstances of the ambush, the 50 people killed more than 20 people in an instant. At this time, Yi Xian, who was hiding in the darkness, began to kill. His targets were the Wu family experts at the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd level of the fulfillment realm. As expected, although the mission is a solo kill, Luo is my slave. If her controlled targets kill the Wu family members, it will be on my head. Yi Xian thought to himself. It seems that this random mission is very simple. In the blink of an eye, 50 people were killed. The Lu family, Wu family, and assassins' first charge only killed a dozen or so people. What's going on? Wu Junying, the sect master of Green Sun Sword sect, and the others did not understand the situation. Why would those people from the Wu family suddenly attack their own people? Could it be that they were bought by the Lu family beforehand? No, it's that pink eyeball. It's controlling them. Wu Qianshan and the others immediately reacted. Unfortunately, Luo had already attacked. 100-layer Demon Fox Avatar. Rainbow Demon Fire. 1000-layer Explosion. Luo used her signature move and bombarded the Wu family team. Bang, 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 bang. In the air, a series of huge waves were set off, and the rumbling sounds were unceasing. Although Luo was only at the 1st level of the fulfillment realm, she was strong enough to challenge those above her level. Moreover, she was very good at group attacks. In just one round of bombardment, more than a dozen fulfillment realm martial practitioners had fallen, and one of them was a Wu family expert at the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm. 30, 40, 50. The kill count in Yi Xian's mind kept increasing. After breaking through to the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm, he could almost instantly kill 3rd level fulfillment realm experts. He did not even need to use the Ice and Fire Twin Dragon sword formation. Peerless Flame Dragon Slash. Eye of Nirvana. Yi Xian, who was hiding in the darkness, madly killed the Wu family experts. Second brother. Seeing this, Wu Qianshan immediately shouted and rushed out at the same time. The Eye of Charm and Luo had to be dealt with as soon as possible. Otherwise, things would be troublesome. At the same time, he also discovered that a person suspected to be an assassin was slaughtering the experts of the Wu family. Yes, big brother. Wu Qianshui nodded and immediately flew towards Luo. Originally, the two ancestors of the Wu family had been aiming for the old tree, but now they had no choice but to leave. Haha, after fighting for so long, you want to leave now? The old tree inside the giant tree protection barrier suddenly laughed loudly. Then, the giant tree protection barrier quickly grew, directly blocking Wu Qianshan and Wu Qianshui. Divine Wood Prison. Stay here obediently. The old tree's voice fell into Wu Qianshan and Wu Qianshui's ears. At this time, they discovered that they were trapped in a prison of branches. Breakthrough. Wu Qianshan shouted and joined hands with Wu Qianshui to attack one point. The defense of the Divine Wood Prison was slightly weaker than the giant tree protection barrier, but the old tree didn't plan to trap them for too long. 3 seconds was enough. 3 seconds might seem like a short time, but the people fighting right now were all Fulfillment Realm experts. To them, 3 seconds felt like an eternity. If Wu Qianshan and Wu Qianshui were trapped for 3 seconds, the outcome of this battle would be decided. At this time in the distant sky. This is bad. The two ancestors of the Wu family are trapped. Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion's expressions changed. Their mission was to stop Lu Tiangong and Lu Heng. But now, things were not as easy as they and the Wu family had imagined. The Wu family had a few more difficult missions, so it was hard to say who would win this battle. Luo, Yi Xian, and the old tree. These 3 people made a move, and in the blink of an eye, the Lu family, who was at a disadvantage, crushed the Wu family with overwhelming momentum. The situation suddenly became frightening. Big brother, what should we do? When Poison Scorpion saw this scene, he quickly moved to Flying Scorpion's side and asked. It doesn't look good. Flying Scorpion shook his head and said, I didn't expect the Lu family to be hiding so many experts. No wonder they are so calm. Then we. Poison Scorpion frowned. Watch a little longer. If the situation is not good, we will leave immediately. Flying Scorpion shouted and charged toward Lu Tiangong again. Yi Xian and Luo's appearance disrupted the Wu family's formation. Even the Lu family did not know where Yi Xian and Luo came from. Could it be that they were acting bravely? What a joke. Wait, that little girl. At this time, Lu Tiangong's eyes flashed as if he thought of something. Before he escorted the Xianming duo to the next location, the Xianming duo gave him a portrait. The person in the portrait was a girl of the fox race, Luo. He did not expect to meet her here. The 2 seniors said that this girl of the fox race was with the young man who left that day. Could that young man be here too? Lu Tiangong suddenly thought of Yi Xian who broke through the void and left that day. However, he did not have time to think because Flying Scorpion was already charging toward him. Right now, he had to settle the battle between the 2 families first. Flying Scorpion, how dare you interfere? I will make sure you don't return. Lu Tiangong suddenly shouted. In the next moment, his left eye patch turned into nothingness. The Eye of Myriad Forms. Ordinary people needed to move to use the power of myriad forms, but Lu Tiangong, who had the Eye of Myriad Forms, could use it from a distance. Flying Scorpion immediately felt an additional power of myriad forms in his body. Is this the power of the Eye of Myriad Forms? But it can't do anything to me. Flying Scorpion snorted coldly in his heart. At the same time, he was glad that Lu Tiangong only had 1 Eye of Myriad Forms. If there were 2, it would be troublesome. As for Lu Tiangong's other Eye of Myriad Forms, no one knew where it was. In an instant, the 2 of them continued to fight. At the same time, the battle between the Wu family and the Lu family had reached its climax. Ding! The host has achieved the first requirement of the random mission. Yi Xian, who was hiding in the darkness, suddenly heard the system's voice in his mind. The first requirement of the random mission was to kill 100 of the Wu family's experts. He achieved it so quickly. Yi Xian did not expect it. After all, the battle had only started for 3 seconds. The Wu family originally had more than 300 people. Now that 100 of them were dead, there were only 200 left. Fortunately, they had the help of the assassins from the underworld. However, only 30 or so people from the Lu family had died. Chapter 1273. Now that the mission is complete, it's time to protect the Lu family experts. Yi Xian thought to himself as he charged toward the 4th-level Fulfillment Realm martial practitioners. The Lu family and the Wu family both had more than a dozen 4th-level Fulfillment Realm elders. As long as the Wu family had experts of this level, the outcome of this battle would be decided. However, at this moment, 2 figures suddenly flew out from the divine wood cage in the distance. "Young master, I underestimated them. I only trapped them for a second." Old Tree said guiltily. "It's fine. We'll take one each." Yi Xian didn't care. They were just 5th-level Fulfillment Realm experts. It was nothing. After all, he had used the Eye of Control to control a new batch of experts. They were all 3rd-level Fulfillment Realm experts. These people were all assassins. They were still in hiding and hadn't been exposed yet. "You're the Wu family forefather, right? How dare you target my supreme grade Eternal Spring? You're courting death." Yi Xian's eyes flashed as he charged forward. "Doppelganger. Eye of Glory. Killing Intent Eruption." Ice and Fire Twin Dragon Sword Formation. Yi Xian used his trump cards and charged toward Wu Qianshan. "It's you." Wu Qianshan's eyes turned red as he recognized Yi Xian. He was trapped in the Divine Wood prison earlier, and Yi Xian was hidden in the darkness. Even he couldn't find him. Now that Yi Xian had exposed himself, there was still a chance to turn the situation around if Yi Xian was killed. However, he was too naive. "You guys attack." Yi Xian gave orders to the 20 or so 3rd-level Fulfillment Realm experts under his control. They immediately began to ambush the surrounding Wu family experts. Amidst the explosions, the Wu family experts fell one after another. They were caught off guard. What? The surrounding people were shocked. Why did the hired assassins suddenly betray the Wu family? Was it because of the pink eyeball? "Kill anyone who goes against my Wu family. Kill them all." Wu Junying, the sect master of the Green Sun Sword sect, roared loudly. More than 30 members of the Wu clan had turned traitor. Now, even the assassins had turned traitor. This was going to be troublesome. "Second brother, let's go." When Fei Xie saw this, he didn't dare to stay any longer and left immediately. Go. Scorpion left as well. Of course, the main reason why the Flying Scorpion left was because Lu Tiangong was too powerful. If the battle continued for another 10 seconds, the Flying Scorpion would probably be killed by Lu Tiangong alone. The outcome had already been decided. The Wu family had lost. Flying Scorpion, Poison Scorpion, you two mother ****. Seeing Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion leaving, the sect leader of Green Sun Sword sect, Wu Junying, couldn't help but shout furiously. He had spent 350,000 Rui pills as a deposit, but he never expected that Flying Scorpion would become a deserter in less than 5 seconds after the battle started. Most importantly, once they left, who could stop Lu Tiangong and Lu Heng? Lu Tiangong looked at Fei Xie and Poison Scorpion with a flicker in his eyes. Although he really wanted to kill Fei Xie and Poison Scorpion, he didn't have the time. At this moment, he turned his gaze to a battlefield. Over there were 5 figures fighting. Old Tree was fighting with Wu Qianshui, while Wu Qianshan was being held back by a pair of twins. This wasn't the main point. The main point was that Wu Qianshan was actually at a disadvantage. That brat. Lu Tiangong's body trembled. As expected, Lu Tiangong had already confirmed that Luo was the person the Xianming duo was looking for. Now that he saw Yi Xian, he was even more certain of this. However, he was surprised that Yi Xian, who had fled like a mouse when he saw him, was only at the 9th level of the Nether Passage realm. However, Yi Xian had grown to the point where he could contend with Wu Qianshan in such a short time. Didn't this mean that Yi Xian could also fight with him? Lu Tiangong hesitated when he thought of the Xianming duo's reward. As long as he captured Luo, he would be able to obtain a huge reward, the Shattering Superpower. However, Yi Xian and Luo were helping the Lu family now. Without these two people, they would be the ones being suppressed. If he attacked Luo now, it wouldn't be right. Let's take care of the Wu family first. Lu Tiangong immediately made his decision. This was the right decision. After all, If he attacked Luo, Yi Xian would very likely switch sides with the Wu family. At that time, the Lu family would be the one to be destroyed. Immediately, he and Lu Heng rushed toward Wu Qianshan and Wu Qianshui. The Wu family originally had 4 5th-level fulfillment realm experts. Now that Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion had left, there were only 2 left. At the same time, the invited assassins from the underworld also left when they saw that the situation wasn't right. The Wu family's original 400 people quickly dropped to 100 people. The Lu family, on the other hand, had twice as many people as them. The battle was already over. However, Wu Qianshan and Wu Qianshui were both 5th-level fulfillment realm experts. To Yi Xian, they were an enormous amount of killing intent, so he couldn't miss this opportunity. Yi Xian, who was attacking Wu Qianshan, suddenly felt 2 auras. He turned his head and saw that it was Lu Tiangong and Lu Heng. Are these 2 people going to fight me, or are they going to team up? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. Although he had changed his appearance and his aura, Luo and the Ice and Fire Twin Dragon Sword formation had exposed him. Therefore, he guessed that Lu Tiangong should have recognized him. Yi Xian thought in his heart that if Lu Tiangong attacked him, then he would immediately switch sides to the Wu family and directly kill Lu Tiangong. However, he felt that Lu Tiangong wasn't that stupid. After all, one wrong move could cause the entire game to be lost. If Lu Tiangong dared to attack him, the Lu family might still be the winner, but they would still be slaughtered by Yi Xian. I'll help you. Lu Tiangong shouted and charged toward Wu Qianshan. In fact, when Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion left, Wu Qianshan and Wu Qianshui knew that they were going to die today. Lu Tiangong, remember our agreement. Wu Qianshan shouted. Before the battle, they had an agreement that the winner couldn't attack anyone below the fulfillment realm. In other words, they couldn't kill them all. Now that the Wu family was defeated, Wu Qianshan naturally had to protect his own clansmen. Okay. Lu Tiangong immediately replied. As long as the Wu family's fulfillment realm experts were all dead, they wouldn't be a threat to the Lu family. There was no need to kill them all. Big brother. Wu Qianshui, who was fighting Old Tree nearby, suddenly shouted. He suddenly thought of something. At this time, Wu Qianshan shouted and directly used the long sword in his hand to cut his own neck. Seeing this scene, everyone was shocked. The Wu family's ancestor, Wu Qianshan, actually committed suicide? The F***CK? Yi Xian was shocked. This was a huge amount of killing intent. How could he let it go so easily? However, he was still one step too slow. Rip! With a crisp sound, a head was thrown into the air. Chapter 1274. Yi Xian was stunned. He thought, why is Lu Tiangong here? If he did it himself, he could definitely kill Wu Qianshan in 5 seconds. Unfortunately, no matter how fast he was, he couldn't compare to Wu Qianshan's suicide. At this time, Yi Xian's gaze quickly fell on Wu Qianshan's younger brother, Wu Qianshui. Rip! Another crisp sound rang out. Wu Qianshui also committed suicide. The outcome was decided. Right now, the Wu family no longer had a 5th-level fulfillment realm expert. Forefather. When Wu Junying and the others saw the 2 heads, they immediately shouted. 2 patriarchs had fallen, which meant that the rest of them would definitely die as well. After all, the Lu family would never let these threats go. All fulfillment realm experts must die. Follow the forefather. Suddenly, someone shouted. A Wu family expert also swung his sword and committed suicide. Lu family, we will abide by the agreement. Son, father will take his leave first. See you in the next life. The Wu family experts committed suicide one after another. Corpses fell from the sky, and blood poured down like rain. Inside the Green Sun Sword sect, blood flowed like rivers. In the blink of an eye, the Wu family only had 30 fulfillment realm experts left. Almost all of them were young geniuses. They were afraid of death, so they didn't attack. Besides them, there was also the group of underworld assassins controlled by Yi Xian and some Wu family members. The Lu family didn't chase after them. They just surrounded them. As for the group of assassins, they had already fled far away. After them, we can't let those assassins go. Lu Heng came to his senses and immediately shouted. Although the assassins were hired, they had killed some Lu family members. Naturally, the Lu family wouldn't let them go. Immediately, the fourth-level fulfillment realm experts of the Lu family all gave chase. The battle was over. However, before this, Yi Xian had already taken Wu Qianshan and Wu Qianshui's universe rings and earned more than 100,000 fulfillment pills. At this time, the whole place was silent. The surrounding disciples of the Azure Yang Sword sect all held their breaths. In the Qingyang Sword sect, all the disciples had gathered around. There were more than 20,000 of them. They all knew that from now on, there would be no more Wu clan in the Qingyang Sword sect, only the Lu clan. The future sect master would also be a member of the Lu clan. Although a large number of the Wu family members had committed suicide, there were still a few high-ranking members of the Wu family who were still alive, including the sect master of the Qingyang Sword sect, Wu Junying. The winner takes all. Today, my Wu clan has lost. Wu Junying knelt on the ground and said to Lu Tiangong, Lu Tiangong, do you still remember the promise the ancestor made to you? Don't worry, my Lu family won't kill you all. Lu Tiangong nodded. All right, then I'm relieved. Wu Junying nodded and said, however, there's one thing I don't understand. Why did my Wu family lose today? After he finished speaking, his gaze landed on Yi Xian and the other two. Without them, the Wu clan definitely wouldn't have lost this battle. Following Wu Junying's gaze, the gazes of over 20,000 people immediately gathered on Yi Xian's trio. Among them, Yi Xian was still wearing the Lu family's uniform. Haha, I'm not a member of the Lu family. I'm just here to look for someone, Yi Xian said with a grin. As soon as he said that, the surrounding people were all shocked. Looking for someone? And then coincidentally stumbled upon this battle? Should they say that the Wu clan was unlucky, or that the Lu clan was lucky? Many people were also guessing in their hearts who Yi Xian was looking for. At this moment, Lu Tiangong said, Kid, you're here to seek revenge, right? From Luoluo and the twin dragons of ice and fire, he already knew that Yi Xian was the one who escaped that day. That's right. Yi Xian nodded and took off his disguise mask, revealing his true face, and said, You almost killed me that day. Today, I'm here to seek revenge. However, I don't want you to die at the hands of others, so I helped a little. Boom. Hearing this, Wu Junying and the others couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. Although the person Yi Xian was looking for was Lu Tiangong, there was a grudge between them. Yi Xian wanted to kill Lu Tiangong with his own hands, so he helped the Lu clan. It seemed that the heavens really wanted to destroy the Wu clan. Otherwise, how could it be so coincidental? Are you going to act now? Lu Tiangong narrowed his eyes. Not for now. You can deal with your clan first. Yi Xian shook his head and said, All right. Lu Tiangong ignored Yi Xian and turned to look at Wu Junying. The Wu clan still had a few fulfillment realm martial practitioners left, so they had to be dealt with. Otherwise, there would be no end of trouble. At this time, Wu Junying suddenly stood up and turned to look at the group of Wu clan young geniuses. Clan master, no, don't. I don't want to die, uncle, let me go. Father, what are you doing, father? Wu Junying's sons were among these young geniuses. However, the Lu clan wouldn't let them live. I'm sorry, you all. Be on your way. Wu Junying sighed and directly swept out with her sword. Slash. 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 With Wu Junying's fourth-level fulfillment realm cultivation, she beheaded more than 20 people with a single swing of her sword. Then, she killed everyone with another swing of her sword. Let's go too. Beside Wu Junying, Wu Yong also raised his hand and slit his own throat. Wu Junying also committed suicide without another word. Now, other than the Wu clan members under Luoluo's control, the Lu clan no longer had any fulfillment realm martial practitioners. However, the sounds didn't stop. Slash. 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 After receiving Yi Xian's orders, Luoluo also ordered the charmed Wu clan members to commit suicide. Yi Xian needed to test something. As expected, the Wu clan members who committed suicide also had killing intent points because they were under Luoluo's control, and Luoluo was Yi Xian's slave. Yi Xian had killing intent points for the people they killed. When they committed suicide, Yi Xian also had killing intent points. Now, there wasn't a single fulfillment realm Wu clan member in the Green Sun Sword sect. Of course, there were still some outside. Yi Xian used the power of all creations to gather these people's universe rings. This wasn't a small sum. 300,000. Yi Xian obtained 300,000 fulfillment pills from this battle, and this didn't include the 100,000 Lu Tiangong gave to the old tree. "Uncle, this little fox is my target," Lu Tiangong suddenly said in a small voice. Previously, Lu Tiangong received orders to rescue the Xianming duo demons and escort them for a while. Lu Hang also knew about this because the person who gave the order to Lu Tiangong was also a member of the Lu clan. "As long as we capture her, we can get a fragmented divine ability?" Lu Hang asked softly. Fragmented divine ability. That little fox was worth a fragmented divine ability. A fragmentation divine ability was a fragmentation realm martial practitioner's divine ability. If they could obtain it, even if they could only use it once in a short period of time, they would be able to dominate. Chapter 1275. 5th level of the fulfillment realm? 6th level of the fulfillment realm? 7th level of the fulfillment realm? As long as they learned the shattering divine power, they would be able to beat up even a 7th level fulfillment realm expert. However, all of this had to be done after Luo Luo was captured. Ding! Host has completed the random mission. All objects realms have increased. Ding! Wei Zhentian has broken through. Ding! Luo Luo has broken through. Ding! Devil Tree Battle Soldier has broken through. The 4 system notifications caused Yi Xian to be overjoyed. Wei Zhentian had broken through very quickly. Luo Luo was originally about to break through to the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm, but now, she had broken through ahead of time. Not only that, this time, she had directly increased by 1 level. For example, Luo Luo's experience had increased from 80% of the 2nd level of the fulfillment realm to 80% of the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm. Not the initial 3rd level of the fulfillment realm. It was a direct increase of 1 level, not a breakthrough to the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm. However, what made Yi Xian most gratified was that old tree had broken through to the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. "Young master, what did you do?" "I feel like I broke through." Old tree's voice rang in Yi Xian's mind. "Nothing, I just used a secret art," Yi Xian casually replied. Old tree knew that he did not want to talk about it, so he did not ask. Yi Xian did not tell anyone about this, not even Luo Luo. Right now, no one noticed the change in old tree. Their attention was on Lu Tiangong and Yi Xian. "Young man, I thank you for your help," Lu Tiangong said. "Forget about the thanks. Next, it's time to settle our old debts." Yi Xian waved his hand and said, "You almost killed me back then, so today, I'm here to take revenge. Do you want to fight me together, or one-on-one?" The moment he said this, the surrounding Lu family disciples and Green Sun Sword sect disciples were all shocked. Yi Xian was only at the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm, but he wanted to fight Lu Tiangong one-on-one, and even 2-on-1. This was too terrifying. However, Yi Xian's strength was clear for all to see. Even Wu Qianshan was beaten to the point that he had no temper in front of Yi Xian. Yi Xian did indeed have the strength to challenge Lu Tiangong alone. Lu Tiangong and Lu Hing knew all this. "Since it's a grudge between you and me, then don't involve others. Let's have a life and death battle," Lu Tiangong said very calmly. "All right, a battle of life and death." Yi Xian immediately responded. In fact, whether it was Lu Tiangong alone or with Lu Hang, Yi Xian was not afraid. After all, he still had the Blade Storm. Lu Tiangong had used up a lot of true qi just now, but Yi Xian had the bloodline of the Divine Tree of Life, so he had already recovered to his peak. Although Lu Tiangong possessed the Eye of All Things, Yi Xian was confident that he could kill Lu Tiangong. At this moment, Yi Xian suddenly landed on the ground and cloned. Immediately, 2 illusory heavenly dragons appeared, one of ice and one of fire. What a miraculous ability! Is that a true qi clone, or is it real? It should be true qi. It's really impossible. He's not even afraid of the Wu family's ancestor. It's hard to say how the Grand Elder will fare in this battle. The surrounding Lu family members and Green Sun Sword sect disciples discussed. Lu Tiangong also landed on the ground with Yi Xian. At this time, the surrounding people had already retreated far away. A battle between 5th level fulfillment realm experts was no laughing matter. If they were caught in the shockwaves, they would either be severely injured or killed. Yi Xian stood on the ground and looked at Lu Tiangong. Although he was confident that he could win, he still had to be careful. On land, he had 9 agility advancement boosts to his movement speed. "Come on, kid. Lu Tiangong said to Yi Xian. There's no rush. Let me ask you a few questions first. Yi Xian suddenly said. I know what you want to ask. Wait until you defeat me. Lu Tiangong refused to answer. All right, then I'll defeat you first. Yi Xian nodded. In the next moment, he attacked. Eye of Glory. Killing intent explosion. Twin dragons of ice and fire sword formation. Yi Xian attacked with all his strength. At the same time, Wei Zhentian, who had broken through to the 4th level of the fulfillment realm, also moved out from the side. Eye of Myriad. After the battle began, Lu Tiangong's left eye flashed and instantly sent Wei Zhentian flying. The Eye of Myriad could use the power of Myriad from a distance, and its speed was much faster than ordinary people. Unfortunately, Wei Zhentian was now at the 4th level of the fulfillment realm. He was very tough and could not be destroyed so easily. After Wei Zhentian was sent flying, he turned into a streak of light and shot out again. Twin Dragon Roar. Whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, a dangerous aura spread. Lu Tiangong focused his eyes and saw a dragon's aura attacking him. So powerful. Under other circumstances, he would have chosen to dodge. However, there were countless Lu family disciples watching. If he dodged, wouldn't he be admitting defeat? Green Sun Sword Bell. Lu Tiangong immediately used the strongest defensive divine ability of the Green Sun Sword sect. Immediately, a huge cyan bell surrounded him. The Eye of Myriad could not only be used from a distance, but also increase the power of Myriad. Simply put, Lu Tiangong's Myriad was stronger than ordinary people. Boom! The twin dragon roar slammed into the Green Sun Sword Bell, and a bell sound immediately spread out. Fortunately, the disciples were far away, or else someone's head would have exploded. Lu Tiangong was at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm, and his cultivation was not low. Yi Xian was at the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm. There was a difference of 2 levels, so this time, no one had the upper hand. However, Yi Xian did not use killing intent explosion for this twin dragon roar, so its power was only half. He did this to lower Lu Tiangong's guard. Lu Tiangong, try this again. At this time, Yi Xian gathered his true energy again and launched another attack. Killing intent explosion. Twin dragon roar. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Another dragon's breath erupted. Lu Tiangong's expression turned serious, and he used the Green Sun Sword Bell again. However, as the dragon's breath approached, his expression changed abruptly. This time, the aura was twice as strong as before. Not good. Lu Tiangong's expression changed greatly, and he immediately abandoned the Green Sun Sword Bell to escape. However, because he was too slow, he was directly shocked by the aftershock of the twin dragon roar, and could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood. The dignified Grand Elder of the Green Sun Sword sect was actually beaten to the point of spitting blood by a junior at the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm. This stunned the surrounding people. This kid's strength has increased so quickly. Even the top geniuses of my sect are not 1/10 of his strength. Lu Tiangong hurriedly stabilized his injuries and thought to himself. While he was surprised, Yi Xian had already turned into 2 streams of light, and attacked him from the left and right. This time, Lu Tiangong did not defend and directly attacked. Twin Dragon Sword Bell. Chapter 1276. The 2 giant golden bells fell. One missed, while the other successfully trapped Lu Tiangong and Yi Xian inside. Is this the Green Sun Sword Bell? Lu Tiangong's expression froze. The Green Sun Sword Bell was one of the Green Sun Sword sect's wishful will divine ability. Not everyone could learn it. And now, Yi Xian actually used a similar divine ability. Was it a coincidence? Lu Tiangong didn't understand. At the same time, he also didn't understand why Yi Xian used this skill. The Green Sun Sword Bell was only used for defense. However, before he could even attack, Yi Xian had already used it. Why? In the next moment he understood. Lu Tiangong, take this. Yi Xian's lips curled up slightly. Fusion of ice and fire. Roar of ice and fire dragons. The 2 heavenly dragon phantoms merged into one and roared at the sky. Boom. A sound wave attack quickly spread out. What? Lu Tiangong turned pale with fright. He hurriedly used the all creation's strength to protect himself. At the same time, he kept attacking to weaken the sound wave attack. Now, he understood Yi Xian's method. He used echoes. Echoes came from all directions. Break! Lu Tiangong attacked as he retreated. Then, he suddenly turned around and prepared to break the double dragon sword bell. But at this moment, the two Yi Xian suddenly attacked from the left and right. Shadow of the Imperial Wind Dragon. Ice and Fire Double Dragon Sword Array. Lu Tiangong was suddenly attacked from both sides. What a troublesome brat. Lu Tiangong was a little regretful. That day, he was careless and allowed Yi Xian to escape. If he had known, he would have killed Yi Xian on that day. However, he forgot that if Yi Xian was killed on that day, the Lu family would probably be destroyed as well. Lu Tiangong, I have many tricks up my sleeve. Have a taste of this. When this voice rang out, Lu Tiangong felt his surroundings change. The people around him had disappeared, and in their place were countless flame demons. Beneath his feet was scorching hot magma. Illusion? Mental attack? Lu Tiangong immediately reacted. Sure enough, Yi Xian had a lot of tricks up his sleeve. It was too scary. However, what was even more shocking was yet to come. Eye of control. Yi Xian's eyes flickered. What? You want to control me? Lu Tiangong was shocked. How could an expert at the 5th level of the Fulfillment Realm, the Grand Elder of the Green Sun Sword Sect, become someone else's slave? No. Lu Tiangong continued to resist. This old fellow has lived for more than 100 years. His soul is incredibly powerful, so it won't be that easy to control him. Thankfully, I have the bloodline of the Divine Tree of Life. Let's exhaust his true energy first. Yi Xian thought to himself. Even if he was at the 5th level of the Fulfillment Realm, as long as he didn't have any true energy, he was like a piece of fish on a chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered. But at this time, the Lu family's other 5th level Fulfillment Realm expert, Lu Hang, quietly approached Luo. As long as he could obtain a fragmented divine ability, he could do anything. After all, as long as he had a fragmented divine ability, the strength of the Green Sun Sword Sect would increase exponentially. Yi Xian, who had the Eye of Perception and the Eye of Revelation, naturally knew Lu Heng's whereabouts. Too naive. It won't be that easy to touch Luo. Yi Xian thought to himself. Beside Luo was the old tree, who had broken through to the 6th level of the Fulfillment Realm. If Lu Heng dared to attack, the old tree would crush him to death. When Lu Heng saw that Lu Tiangong was suppressed by Yi Xian and was about to lose, his expression turned serious and he immediately attacked Luo. Yi Xian was at the 3rd level of the Fulfillment Realm, but he had the ability to fight against Wu Qianxue and Lu Tiangong. He was very monstrous. Although Luo was also at the 3rd level of the Fulfillment Realm, Lu Heng didn't believe that Luo had the same strength. The only thing he had to be wary of was the old tree. How could a human not be able to beat a tree? However, he was wrong. This tree wasn't simple. Little thing, how dare you touch the little fox? You're courting death. The old tree had received Yi Xian's sound transmission and pretended to be paying attention to the battle. Now that he saw Lu Heng attack, his large hand grabbed fiercely. Slap! Crack! Boss Tree reached out and grabbed Lu Heng in his hand. With just a casual squeeze, he crushed Lu Heng's bones. Ah! Lu Heng couldn't help but cry out in pain. He never thought that he would be caught so easily. How was this possible? Young man, do you think this old man is only at the 5th level of the Fulfillment Realm? The old tree suddenly started to show off. What? This sentence frightened Lu Heng. Was this old tree not at the 5th level of the Fulfillment Realm, but the 6th level of the Fulfillment Realm? How dare you touch the little fox? You deserve 10,000 deaths. However, the one who will decide your fate is not me, but my young master. The old tree suddenly turned and looked at Yi Xian. Following the old tree's gaze, Lu Heng realized that the young master the old tree was talking about was Yi Xian. How was it possible that a 3rd level Fulfillment Realm cultivator had a 6th level Fulfillment Realm heaven-reaching beast as a servant? Not only that, even the surrounding people felt that it was impossible. The former Grand Supreme Elder was caught instantly and couldn't move. He must be at the 6th level of the Fulfillment Realm. That old tree is at the 6th level of the Fulfillment Realm? Why did the former Grand Supreme Elder attack? The Lu family members and the Qingyang Sword Sect disciples didn't understand. This battle was clearly between Yi Xian and Lu Tiangong, and Lu Tiangong had said that it would be a one-on-one battle. But now, Lu Heng was using a sneak attack. What was going on? Lu Tiangong, you really want to catch Luo? Yi Xian suddenly stopped. I can't help it. As long as I catch her, I can get a fragmented divine ability. Lu Tiangong sighed. Now, I'll give you a chance. Submit to me. If you don't, he will be crushed to death, and I will destroy your Lu family and even the entire Qingyang sword sect. Yi Xian said in a threatening tone. Sigh. Lu Tiangong sighed again. If the old tree was only at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm, they might be able to fight against Yi Xian. But now, the old tree was at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. Even if he and Lu Hang worked together, they might not be a match for the old tree, let alone Yi Xian alone. Also, he felt that Yi Xian hadn't used his full strength in the battle. This time, they were completely defeated. It's not that I can't submit to you, but I have a request. Lu Tiangong said. Originally, he didn't have the right to talk about conditions, but Yi Xian wanted to hear what it was. Speak. Yi Xian said. Chapter 1277. After Lu Tiangong's reminder, Yi Xian came to his senses as well. The current Qingyang sword sect was probably as strong as the Flying Scorpion stronghold, or even weaker. That's a small matter. I can promise you that, but I'll say this first. I'll take away your Eye of Myriad. Yi Xian nodded. All right. Lu Tiangong answered without hesitation. The Eye of Myriad was indeed a good item, but there was only one, so its power could not be maximized. Compared to the entire Lu family, the Eye of Myriad was nothing. If that's the case, then don't resist. After Yi Xian finished speaking, he used the Eye of Control on Lu Tiangong. Ding! Control successful. Lu Tiangong was willing, so he was easily controlled by Yi Xian. Now, the Grand Elder of Qingyang Sword Sect, Lu Tiangong, was Yi Xian's servant. However, this was not the end. Greetings, Master. Lu Tiangong knelt on one knee and shouted respectfully. This scene frightened the surrounding people. The strongest person of the Lu family and Qingyang sword sect was controlled by Yi Xian. Lu Hang, who was caught by the old tree, was also shocked because Lu Tiangong's strength was above his. However, whether it was Yi Xian or the old tree, they were not ordinary people. The most terrifying one was the little fox, Luo. She had a fragmented superpower, so there must be something extraordinary about her. Lu Hang, he has submitted to me. It's your turn. Yi Xian suddenly turned to Lu Hang and said. Lu Hang, who was caught by the old tree, who was at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm, did not even have the ability to resist. If the old tree wanted to, he would probably be crushed into pieces. Therefore, he could only choose to submit. Ding! Control successful. Another system notification sounded. Then, the old tree released Lu Hang. Now, Yi Xian controlled the entire Qingyang sword sect. If he wanted to, he could become the sect leader of Qingyang sword sect. However, he did not think much of Qingyang sword sect. Lu Tiangong, give me the eyes of myriad forms. After controlling Lu Hang, Yi Xian said to Lu Tiangong. Yes. Lu Tiangong didn't dare to be negligent. He directly put his hand into his left eye, and with a slight tug, he removed the Eye of Myriad. Last time, Yi Xian didn't notice anything strange, so he thought Lu Tiangong was just blind in one eye. This time, he accurately saw that the Eye of all things was only connected to Lu Tiangong's true qi. It didn't grow in the eye. In order to install this Eye of Nature, Lu Tiangong had personally dug out his left eye. Yi Xian used his 10,000 mammoths force to hold up the Eye of Myriad mammoths and carefully examined it. He didn't want this Eye of Nature to replace his left eye. Instead, he was preparing to devour it. Ding! The host has devoured an Eye of Myriad forms. Ding! The host's strength of all creations has increased. The system notifications rang continuously. As expected, after devouring this Eye of Myriad forms, Yi Xian's strength of all creations had increased. Moreover, he had obtained the ability to use the strength of all creations from a distance. Of course, there was a distance limit. Originally, the strength of all creations increased as the strength of one's soul increased. Yi Xian's soul was already stronger than others. Now, after devouring this Eye of Myriad forms, it was even stronger. I wonder if the effects will multiply if I devour another Eye of Myriad forms. Yi Xian's eyes flickered. He was very curious. He glanced at Lu Tiangong and exchanged for a fake eye. Put on this fake eye first. It'll be almost the same as your original eye. Seeing this, Lu Tiangong's single eye lit up. He hurriedly expressed his gratitude. Thank you, master. Lu Heng, clean up the battlefield. Collect all the spoils for me. Yi Xian turned his head and said to Lu Heng. Then he said to Lu Tiangong, come with me. He came to the Qingyang sword sect this time to find Lu Tiangong. He had a lot of questions to ask. Soon, Yi Xian brought him to the giant wood protection barrier. Where did the twin fiends of the mysterious underworld go? Yi Xian went straight to the point. I'm not sure. I only escorted them to Flying Sand City and handed them to my ex-wife. Lu Tiangong shook his head. Flying Sand City, ex-wife? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. He had been in this world for 10 years, but this was the first time he heard the word ex-wife. Tell me in detail. It's like this. My ex-wife left me a few decades ago and married the city lord of Flying Sand City. However, we still have her. This time, she got the news, so she sent me a message asking me to pick up the Xianming duo demons. I escorted the Xianming duo demons to Flying Sand City. Then, she asked someone to escort them to other places. Lu Tiangong said honestly. Is there anything else? Yi Xian continued to ask. No. The Xianming duo demons kept asking me to send people to look for Master and Miss Luoluo. I sent people, but there was no news. Lu Tiangong shook his head. Then have you heard of the Yinyang Temple? No. Lu Tiangong shook his head again. Yi Xian was silent for a moment. Although the Qingyang sword sect was not bad, it was only a third realm of connecting heaven realm. It was still far from the Nirvana realm. It was normal that he did not know. Okay. Then how did you get the eyes of myriad forms? Yi Xian changed the topic. My ex-wife and I obtained these eyes of myriad forms after we killed a heaven-reaching beast during our training. At that time, we divided the eyes of myriad forms equally. One for me, and the other for my ex-wife. Lu Tiangong answered. A connecting heaven beast? What was it like? Yi Xian frowned, suddenly interested. This. I don't remember clearly. Lu Tiangong said subconsciously. Don't remember clearly? What do you mean? Yi Xian didn't understand. How could a fulfillment realm expert with an outstanding memory forget such an important matter? Lu Tiangong was under his control, so there was no way he was lying. I don't know either. I don't remember the shape of this connecting heaven beast. I don't even remember its cry. Lu Tiangong shook his head. In that case, it would appear that there's something special about that heaven-reaching beast. Yi Xian did not ask any more questions. He took out a map and looked at it. Flying Sand City was 3 days away from the Qingyang sword sect. However, with Yi Xian's current speed, it would only take 2 days. Next, Yi Xian asked Lu Tiangong a few more questions. Not long after, Lu Heng walked in. Master, these are the spoils of war from the Lu family and the assassins. Lu Heng handed over a bag full of universe rings. Very good. Yi Xian's lips curled slightly. He grabbed a handful of universe rings and began to madly devour them. Ding! Wei Zhentian has broken through. He is now at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm. Chapter 1278. Ding! Wei Zhentian has broken through. Current level of fulfillment realm. Ding! Host has broken through. Current level of fulfillment realm. 2 system notifications rang in Yi Xian's mind. As for the remaining treasures, he left them for Luoluo. Young master, where are we going now? Luoluo also walked in and asked. You go and cultivate. Old Tree will stay in Azure Sun's sword sect. I'll bring them out to hunt down the 2 fort masters of Flying Scorpion stronghold. After Yi Xian finished speaking, he left with Lu Tiangong and Lu Heng. Both of them were at the 5th level of fulfillment realm. As for Yi Xian, he was using the Snow Wind Demon Spirit Condor. With the support of an expert's 10,000 mammoth power, the Snow Wind Demon Spirit Condor's flying speed would increase by a lot. Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion had just left. They would probably be able to catch up very soon, as long as they were returning to Flying Scorpion's stronghold. Since he had promised Lu Tiangong, Yi Xian had to fulfill his promise to destroy Flying Scorpion's stronghold. Yi Xian and the other two rode on the Snow Wind Demon Spirit Condor and left Azure Sun Sword Sect. With the support of 3 experts and the 10,000 mammoth power, the Snow Wind Demon Spirit Condor's speed approached the 6th level of Fulfillment Realm. In just 2 minutes, Yi Xian found Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion. As it turned out, the two of them weren't planning to return to Flying Scorpion's stronghold. Instead, they were wandering around Azure Sun Sword Sect, preparing to make more money. Unfortunately, they encountered Yi Xian. Lu Tiangong Lu Heng? After seeing the 3 people on the Snow Wind Demon Spirit Condor, Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion were shocked. They quickly turned around and ran. Previously, Lu Tiangong was fighting Flying Scorpion alone. If he had a few more seconds, Flying Scorpion would have been killed by Lu Tiangong. Now that Yi Xian and Lu Heng were here, Flying Scorpion didn't have the strength to fight back. Unfortunately, their speed was much slower than the Snow Wind Demon Spirit Condor. Go! With Yi Xian's order, Lu Tiangong and Lu Heng immediately charged out. At the same time, he rode on the Snow Wind Demon Spirit Condor and blocked the 2 fort masters. Double Dragon Sword Bell. The 2 Yi Xian immediately used their trapping divine skill. In the blink of an eye, Flying Scorpion and Poisonous Scorpion were trapped inside. Dual Dragon Roar of Ice and Fire. The Ice Dragon and the Flame Dragon suddenly merged and let out an earth-shattering roar. The dragon's roar quickly spread out. Block it! Flying Scorpion yelled and joined forces with Scorpion, preparing to block the sound wave attack. As for Lu Tiangong and Lu Heng, they had Yi Xian's genuine qi and strength of all creations on them, so this attack did not have much of an effect on them. Azure Sun Break. The 2 of them simultaneously used the strongest attack of the Qingyang Sword Sect. Bang! Bang! 2 crisp sounds rang out as both Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion flew backwards. Twin Dragon Roar. This dragon breath engulfed the 2 of them. Yi Xian of the Fulfillment Realm was already at the 4th level of the Fulfillment Realm, but he didn't use his killing intent eruption because he didn't want to kill the 2 fort masters. Scorching Hell. Eye of Control. The 2 fort masters were heavily injured, so Yi Xian took the opportunity to control them. Ding. Control failed. Ding. Control failed. Ding. Control succeeded. Ding. Control succeeded. In the end, the 2 fort masters couldn't escape this fate and were controlled by Yi Xian. Greetings, Master. Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion knelt on one knee and cupped their fists respectfully. These 2 potions are for you. Yi Xian tossed them 2 potions and summoned Luoluo at the same time. Luoluo was also at the 3rd level of the Fulfillment Realm, so Yi Xian wanted her to charm the 2 fort masters. This way, when Yi Xian's Eye of Control was not enough in the future, the 2 fort masters would not be released from his control. Ding! Flying Scorpion has escaped control. Ding! Poison Scorpion has escaped control. 2 more system notifications rang out. Just like that, Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion were handed over to Luoluo by Yi Xian. Then, Yi Xian walked over and took their universe rings. Previously, Wu Junying had paid them 350,000 fulfillment pills as a deposit. Adding the wealth that the 2 brought out, the 2 universe rings had about 600,000 fulfillment pills in them. The 2 of you will join the Azure Sun Sword Sect from now on. As for your Flying Scorpion fort, I will destroy it directly. Yi Xian said to the 2. Yes, Master. Please do as you wish. The 2 fort masters nodded respectfully. The Flying Scorpion fort was built by them single-handedly. There were countless experts in it, and it was comparable to the current Azure Sun Sword Sect. Although it was a pity to destroy it, Yi Xian was their master's master, so they still had to listen to his orders. Then, the Snow Wind Demon Spirit Condor flew towards the Flying Scorpion fort with Yi Xian and the other 4 fort masters. With 4 5th-level Fulfillment Realm experts supporting it with the power of all creations, the Snow Wind Demon Spirit Condor's speed was very fast. It only took them half a day to reach the Flying Scorpion fort. Fort Master and Second Fort Master are back. Who are those 3? They should be the people who joined our Flying Scorpion fort. Their auras are so strong. They are at least at the 4th level of the Fulfillment Realm. When Yi Xian and the other 4 fort masters arrived at the Flying Scorpion fort, the people in the Flying Scorpion fort welcomed them with joy. However, what awaited them next was the sharpness of blood. The Flying Scorpion Fort is filled with a group of vicious people who commit all kinds of crimes. It's not a pity to kill them. Go. Yi Xian immediately gave the order to Lu Tiangong and the other 3 fort masters. Lu Tiangong and the other 3 fort masters were all 5th-level Fulfillment Realm experts. Any 2 of them would be enough to raise the Flying Scorpion Fort to the ground. Moreover, there was also Yi Xian, a super genius who could challenge those above his level. Twin Dragon Sword Bell. Twin Dragon Roars of Ice and Fire. Yi Xian formed a giant golden bell. However, this time, he was not inside, but outside. The Flying Scorpion Fort was built in a valley, so the dragon roars could be heard everywhere. Ah, my head is going to explode. What's going on? Why is the fort master attacking us? I remember now. Those 2 people are wearing the robes of the Green Sun Sword sect. Is the fort master working together with the Green Sun Sword sect to eliminate us? Run! The martial practitioners of the Flying Scorpion Fort fled in all directions. Another dragon's roar rang out. Every Flying Scorpion Fort martial practitioner at or below the 1st level of the Fulfillment Realm collapsed to the ground. Try this move again. Yi Xian's eyes flashed. Eye of Glory. Killing Intent Eruption. Twin Dragon Roars of Ice and Fire. He had only used the normal Twin Dragon Roars of Ice and Fire before. This time, the power was at least twice as strong as before. Immediately, a 2nd-level Fulfillment Realm expert collapsed to the ground. Other than Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion, there were 8 4th-level Fulfillment Realm experts in the Flying Scorpion Fort. However, Lu Tiangong and the other 3 fort masters took care of these 8 people. Since they were all Yi Xian's servants, the killing intent points of the people they killed were all added to Yi Xian. Although the killing intent points were almost inexhaustible, there were still a few more God of Slaying bloodline skills that had not been activated. Who knew if there were skills that consumed a lot of killing intent points? Therefore, one could never have too many killing intent points. There were more than 10,000 people in the Flying Scorpion Fort, and more than 9,000 had died to Yi Xian's bell. Chapter 1279. The entire Flying Scorpion stronghold was bathed in blood. The smell of blood spread to more than 10 miles away, and the stronghold was filled with screams. A few minutes later, Yi Xian and a few others were the only ones left in the Flying Scorpion stronghold. The Flying Scorpion stronghold often committed robberies and had captured many beautiful girls and women. There were more than 1,000 of them, and some of them were even toyed with 10 to 20 times a day. Fortunately, these people were released by the Flying Scorpion stronghold early in the morning, and Yi Xian covered them with his true qi, so they were not injured. Oh my God, they're all dead. Thank you, Master. Thank you. These girls kowtowed to Yi Xian, even if the ground was covered in blood and broken limbs. All of you, take some money and leave. Go back to where you came from. Yi Xian waved his hand and threw a bag to each of them. The money in the bag was enough to last them for the rest of their lives. Thank you, Master. The group of girls thanked him again and again, then left. The Flying Scorpion stronghold was one of the local tyrants in this area. Now that it was destroyed, they would be fine. Then, Yi Xian asked those who were controlled by Luoluo to collect the spoils of war. All of you go too. Yi Xian said to Lu Tiangong and the others. Yes. Lu Tiangong and the others nodded and dispersed. However, at this moment, ding! The killing intent value of the host has reached the upper limit of the current level. If you choose to clear it to 0, you will obtain 1 devour point. The system suddenly notified. What? If I choose to clear it to 0, I will obtain 1 devour point? Yi Xian was shocked. This was the first time he had encountered such a thing. Thinking of this, Yi Xian could not help but say to himself, the God-Slayer bloodline is indeed the God-Slayer bloodline. I can actually use this method to obtain devour points. This time, it was probably because he had obtained a large amount of killing intent value from the massacre of the Flying Scorpion stronghold. If he chose to clear it to 0, he would obtain 1 devour point. This would take some time, and he would not be able to use some of the God-Slayer bloodline skills, such as Killing Intent Explosion and Blade Storm. If he did not clear it to 0, he would not obtain 1 devour point. Compared to devour points, what was the killing intent value? 0. Yi Xian made his decision. Ding! Killing intent has been cleared successfully. Host has obtained 1 devour point. The system prompted again. Yi Xian swallowed his saliva when he saw the devour point on the interface. This was not bad at all. If the one who obtained this was a ruthless person, then he would probably slaughter all the surrounding forces. That way, the killing intent value could once again reach the upper limit of the current level, and then choose to reset it to 0. But Yi Xian wouldn't do that. Although he was capable of killing, and had killed quite a number of people, he would not kill innocent people. Previously, he could have used Bladestorm several times, but he was worried about the innocent civilians around him, so he did not use it. For example, when he was in Tianyuan City, he could use Bladestorm to kill Mad Dragon. Now, the system had already cleared the killing intent value to 0. Not only could he not use killing intent explosion and Bladestorm, even Dark Knight Canopy could not be used. Fortunately, his spoils of war were still being collected. As long as he devoured those killing weapons, he would be able to obtain a large amount of killing intent points, so he did not have to worry too much. Master, the items have been collected. After a while, Lu Tiangong and the others handed the items to Yi Xian. In the entire Flying Scorpion stronghold, only a handful of people had managed to escape, so their spoils of war were all gathered here. Yi Xian unceremoniously threw all the items into the devour space, and then calculated that there were about 1 million low-grade fulfillment pills. Ding! Wei Zhentian has broken through. Currently at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. There was only one notification from the system. Unfortunately, every time Yi Xian broke through, his leveling up experience would greatly increase, so he could not break through this time. But the transcending heaven artifacts inside gave him a large amount of killing intent, so he could use killing intent explosion and Bladestorm again. Just as Yi Xian was inspecting those strange items, he found an interesting transcending heaven artifact. It was a wooden seal with a heavenly dragon carved on it. Previously, he had only devoured swords and weapons, so this item was a little strange, so he kept it. Ding! This item can be used as a transcendent artifact. The system notification sounded again. Transcendent artifact? Yi Xian raised an eyebrow and quickly looked. He found that there was a transcendent artifact that could be refined called the Divine Wood Seal. And the transcendent artifact's artifact spirit was the old tree. Old tree, do you want to become immortal and indestructible? Yi Xian transmitted in his mind. Hearing this, the old tree in the Green Sun Sword sect paused and said, "Who doesn't want to? All right, I have a way to help you become immortal and indestructible. As long as my 3 clones don't die, you won't die." Wei Zhentian is in such a state now, Yi Xian said again. The other side paused again. Little young master, your methods are truly heaven-defying. Come, I want to live forever, the old tree replied. Then I'll return immediately. Yi Xian nodded. Immediately, he broke through the void and brought Lu Tiangong and the others back to the giant tree protection barrier of the Green Sun Sword sect. At this time, in the giant tree protection barrier, the old tree looked at Yi Xian expectantly. Ding! Refining the Divine Wood Seal will consume 1 devour point. Proceed? The system notification sounded. Yi Xian remembered that when he refined the first transcendent artifact, the heaven-shaking sword, he did not consume any devour points. But at that time, he had just leveled up and the transcendent artifact system had just been activated, so he was rewarded with a chance to refine a transcendent artifact for free. As for the second time, he did not consume any devour points, perhaps because the transcendent artifact's quality was not good enough or because the Dragon Ball was rare. Now that the Divine Wood Seal required 1 devour point, Yi Xian happened to get 1 devour point. Moreover, he felt that it was worth it. The transcendent artifact's Divine Wood Seal skills would change according to its artifact spirit. At least, it was very good to have the old tree as its artifact spirit skill. Yes. Immediately, Yi Xian put the old tree into the storage space and replied in his mind. Ding! Begin refining transcendent artifact. Ding! The transcendent artifact's Divine Wood Seal has been successfully refined. Finally, Yi Xian refined the 3rd transcendent artifact, the Divine Wood Seal. After the transcendent artifact's Divine Wood Seal was successfully refined, Yi Xian immediately summoned the old tree. Now that I'm immortal and indestructible, it doesn't feel any different. The old tree touched its withered body and asked curiously. No, you've changed a lot. Old tree, you can even change into a human form now. Yi Xian said with a smile. A human form? Really? Chapter 1280. After a long while, the old tree's body began to shrink. Its bark also began to change, turning into human skin. Finally, it turned into a bald old man with a burly figure. Oh my! This old man actually turned into a human. The old tree couldn't believe it, and touched it with its hands. However, it only had the appearance of a human. Beneath its skin was plant tissue. However, the old tree was now an immortal existence. Grandpa Tree, how do you feel? Luo Luo hurriedly went up to the old tree and intimately held its arm. With Luo Luo's height of 165 meters, she didn't even reach the old tree's shoulder. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Yi Xian also checked the divine wood seal's skills. After the old tree was refined into a treasure, it would live and die together with Yi Xian. In addition to being able to transform into a human, it also had 3 additional skills. The first skill was called Divine Wood Prison, which was the one the old tree used before. However, its effect was greatly improved, and its cooldown time was 1 day. The second skill was called Wild Python Sweep, which extended countless sharp vines to attack. Its cooldown time was 3 days. Judging from its cooldown time, this skill's power was probably not small. As for the third skill, it was called Nurture, which could increase the growth rate of heaven and earth treasures. Its cooldown time was 1 day. A control skill, an attack skill, and a support skill. This was the Divine Wood Seal. Immediately, Yi Xian stored the old tree into the planting space, and then let him use Nurture. Immediately, the old tree took root in the planting space, and a mysterious energy flowed through its roots into the ground. Some of the heaven and earth treasures that had yet to mature directly bloomed, and even the seedlings that had just been planted began to grow rapidly. The Nurture skill could be used once a day, and the effect of one use was actually equivalent to a month's growth of these heaven and earth treasures. Almost all of the heaven and earth treasures could mature after 1 use of Nurture. In other words, Yi Xian could harvest a large portion of them in 1 day. How awesome! Not bad, not bad. This is a really good skill. Yi Xian was very satisfied. A single harvest of heaven and earth treasures was worth about 50,000 fortune pills. This was a steady source of income. Even if Yi Xian slept with him for a day, he would still have an income. Moreover, if the old tree's level increased in the future, or if the level of the planting space increased, then he would be able to plant even higher level heaven and earth treasures. In a single day, he would be able to harvest 100,000 fortune pills, 200,000 fortune pills, or even 1 million fortune pills. In short, he could have a steady stream of income. At this moment, what he wanted the most was to try out the Divine Wood Prison and the Berserk Python Sweep. However, the former required a cooldown of 1 day, while the latter required a cooldown of 3 days. Therefore, he couldn't use it recklessly. It was better to use it when necessary. Little young master, come, break my heart of the devil tree for me to see. The old tree suddenly said to Yi Xian excitedly. He wanted to see if he was truly immortal. All right. Yi Xian didn't waste any more time. He drew his sword and slashed at the old tree's heart of the demon tree. Azure Sun Break. The old tree was at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. The defense of his bark was extremely tough. Yi Xian's attack probably wouldn't be able to break through his defense so easily. However, the old tree could freely control his own body. Therefore, he broke through the defense and exposed the devil tree's heart to the air. Bang! Crack! With a crisp sound, the old tree's heart of the demon tree directly shattered and turned into nothingness. Originally, the old tree wouldn't have exposed the devil tree's heart no matter what. However, things were different now. The devil tree's heart was destroyed, but he didn't die. It was simply a miracle. Haha, this old man is actually immortal. The old tree couldn't help but laugh loudly. He once again transformed into his human form. He also knew that Yi Xian had a third doppelganger on some low-level continent. As long as Yi Xian's 3 doppelgangers didn't die, then he wouldn't die either. He could live forever and continue to grow. In the future, he could even rise to the Heaven Ascension realm. The Heaven Ascension realm had the ability to reach the heavens. Even he, an old piece of wood who had lived for 1,000 years, didn't dare to think about it. Not to mention the Heaven Ascension realm, he didn't even dare to think about the Fragmentation realm before. Now that might not be the case anymore. Young master, what do we do next? Luo Luo asked again. You're about to break through. Continue cultivating. This time, I'm going to Flying Sand City to find the other Eye of Myriad Forms, answered Yixian. Oh right, there's something about this Eye of Myriad Forms in my inherited memories. Luo Luo suddenly remembered something. Hearing this, Yixian's eyes lit up. He asked, "What is it?" Luo Luo began to explain. In this world, there are many eyes with special abilities. For example, my Eye of Charm, the Eye of Death, the Eye of Reincarnation, and so on. This Eye of Myriad Forms is one of them. This Eye of Myriad Forms can be born from life, such as humans and heaven ascension beasts. It can also be born from the beast race. If one's realm reaches a certain level, this Eye of Myriad Forms can be used across space and kill people. After hearing this, Yixian nodded slightly. It seemed that he had found something good. However, this eye originally came in a pair. He only had one, so he had to get the other one. All right, I'm going to Flying Sand City now, said Yixian. Relying on the senses of the Death Hunt command, he felt that the Xianming duo demons had stopped. Perhaps they were resting, or doing something else. Therefore, if he took the opportunity to put in more effort, he might be able to catch up. Immediately, he rushed to Flying Sand City. Now that Wei Zhentian had reached the 6th stage of the fulfillment realm, he directly transformed into a heavenly dragon and hurried on his way. He was much faster than the snow wind demon spirit condor. In addition, Yixian brought the 2 5th stage fulfillment realm experts, Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion, and constantly used the power of myriad forms to support them. In just one day, he arrived at Flying Sand City. Flying Sand City was built in a desert oasis. Behind Flying Sand City was the Desert of Despair. It was said that no one could come out from there. Yixian landed outside Flying Sand City, then broke through the void and sent Flying Scorpion and Poison Scorpion away. He then brought Luo Luo and Old Tree into Flying Sand City. Wow, this Flying Sand City is different from the other cities. After entering Flying Sand City, Luo Luo couldn't help but open her eyes wide. In other human cities it was rare to see the beast race. However, in Flying Sand City, the beast race could be seen everywhere. Demonic snake race, ferocious tiger race, giant elephant race, scorpion race. Yixian glanced around and found many beast race. Could this Flying Sand City be the gathering place of the beast race? Not only that, the atmosphere of Flying Sand City was different from other places. It was a bit like the western region in ancient times. You can walk around. I'll go take a look at the City Lord Mansion. Chapter 1281. If Luo Luo was alone, Yixian naturally wouldn't be at ease. However, Old Tree was already at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. With him around, there wouldn't be a problem. Of course, Flying Sand City also had experts at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm, so Yixian still had to be careful. Lu Tiangong's ex-wife had remarried into Flying Sand City's City Lord Mansion and become the City Lord's wife. It had been a few years now. Therefore, Yixian went directly to the City Lord Mansion this time and prepared to seize the Eye of Myriad by force. At the same time, he also wanted to ask about the whereabouts of the Xianming duo. However, after arriving at Flying Sand City, he felt that the Xianming duo wasn't far from him. The Xianming duo might be in the Desert of Despair behind Flying Sand City. He had to admit that Flying Sand City was very strong. Along the way, Yixian felt many powerful auras. 4th and 5th level fulfillment realm experts could be seen everywhere. This Flying Sand City's City Lord might not only be at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. I heard that he might already be at the 7th level of the fulfillment realm. Yixian thought to himself as he walked. However, with his current realm, he wasn't afraid of the City Lord. However, just as he was about to reach the City Lord Mansion, Luo Luo's voice suddenly rang in his mind. "Young master, come quickly, we're in trouble." Luo Luo shouted somewhat anxiously. "What?" Yixian was slightly surprised and hurried in Luo Luo's direction. Relying on the connection between him and Luo Luo, he quickly found Luo Luo and Old Tree. At this time, Luo Luo and Old Tree were surrounded by a group of people. The leader was a young man around 30 years old. 3 5th level fulfillment realm experts? Yixian was slightly surprised. In addition, there were several 4th level fulfillment realm guards around them. It seemed that this young man's identity was very unusual. "Kid, what are you doing?" Seeing Yixian suddenly fall from the sky, one of the guards hurriedly intercepted him. "You dare to stop me with just you?" Yi Xian's eyes flashed as he directly used the Eye of Control to control him. Tap. Yi Xian landed in front of Luo Luo. Young master. Luo Luo hurriedly went up to hold Yi Xian's arm. Young master. Hearing this, the young man in the lead raised his brows and said, "This little fox is your maidservant?" "She's my little sister." "What's wrong?" Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. This young man was actually an expert at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm. Yi Xian could guess his identity based on this fact alone. Younger sister? The leader was stunned. Luo Luo had clearly called Yi Xian young master. Just now. How could they be siblings? Furthermore, why was one of the siblings a human and the other a fox? I've F***ed Catwoman, Snake Woman, Tiger Woman, and even the Elephant Clan, but I've never F***ed a little fox. I can see that she is still a virgin. You can name a price, however high it is. The young man in the lead spoke in an arrogant manner. In this flying sand city, he could walk sideways. No one dared to provoke him. Name a price? If I were to take a fancy to your mother, would you name a price? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes again and retorted with sharp words. What did you say? The leader's eyes widened. He thought he had misheard. Yi Xian dared to speak to him like this. This was an insult to his mother. Trash. Do you know who he is? Suddenly, a 5th level fulfillment realm expert stepped forward and pointed at Yi Xian's nose. Who? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows and asked. Huang Chengyi, the young city lord of Flying Sand City, the grandson of the city lord. The 5th level fulfillment realm expert replied. As expected. Yi Xian's heart trembled. This young man in the lead was indeed the young city lord of Flying Sand City. But so what? So it's the young city lord. I've heard so much about you. However, do you think you can act arrogantly in front of me just because you're the young city lord? The corner of Yi Xian's lips curled slightly. The old tree was a heaven-reaching beast. Now that he was in human form, he looked easy to bully. The reason why he didn't make a move was because this was the city. He was waiting for Yi Xian to come. Before that, he just needed to protect Luo Luo. You dare to offend me? Even if you have a great background, you won't be able to leave Flying Sand City. Huang Chengyi snorted coldly. Is that so? With just the 3 of you at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm? Yi Xian had an extremely disdainful expression. It seems that you do have some background. However, none of the women Huang Chengyi, have ever been able to escape. Huang Chengyi's eyes suddenly turned cold. If it wasn't for the fact that Flying Sand City was filled with crooks and experts, and his father repeatedly warned him not to cause trouble, he would have already attacked. Now, his mother was insulted by Yi Xian. How could he just let it go like this? Is that so? Yi Xian still looked calm. Not only that, even Luo Luo looked very relaxed. She believed in Yi Xian. After all, she had watched Yi Xian grow step by step until now. Even a reincarnator had died at the hands of Yi Xian. What was a mere Huang Chengyi to him? This brat only knows how to think about lewd things all day long. Young master, let me do it. Old Tree couldn't watch anymore and took a step forward. Although he was a treant, he already treated the clever and cute Luo Luo as his own granddaughter. Before Yi Xian came, he didn't make a move. Now that Yi Xian's attitude was very clear, he naturally had to show off his skills. Old Tree, don't hold back. Yi Xian said in a low voice. All right. Old Tree walked forward. Seeing this, a 5th stage fulfillment realm expert also walked forward. At the same time, he said in a threatening tone, Old man, I will pluck your head off and hang it on the city wall to rot. This is the first time this old man has been threatened by a human, Old Tree snorted coldly. As expected. The surrounding people trembled in their hearts. They could all see that this bald old man wasn't simple. He was able to remain so calm even when surrounded by so many people. He was clearly not an ordinary person. Just now, some people guessed that he was a snake demon or a demon. Old Baldy, you court death. The 5th stage fulfillment realm expert let out a low cry and charged toward Old Shu with his bare hands. He was very fast. Faster than 95% of the people present. Only a dozen or so people who were watching the show could see his figure. Among them was the Old Tree. In the blink of an eye, he rushed in front of Old Tree. Then he reached out with his right hand like a claw and prepared to twist Old Tree's head off. But at this time, Old Tree moved even faster and grabbed his opponent's throat. Crack! With a crisp sound, the martial practitioner at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm had his throat snapped and his head plucked off from his body. Instant kill. This 5th stage fulfillment realm martial practitioner was instantly killed. The whole place was dead silent. Old Tree was at the 6th stage of the fulfillment realm. Add to that the boost from Yixian's beast god bloodline, it wasn't too difficult for him to kill a 5th stage fulfillment realm martial practitioner. Yixian had imagined this scene in his mind a long time ago. Chapter 1282. Young Master. At this time, the Old Tree directly threw the corpse to Yixian. The latter quickly took off the universe ring and put away the corpse. It was only now that the surrounding people reacted. How dare you kill a reverend of the city lord's mansion? Another middle-aged man at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm shouted. At the same time, he also saw that the Old Tree was at least at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. Therefore, he had no choice but to use the Flying Sand City Lord's mansion. What bullshit City Lord's mansion? If this old man was afraid, would he kill someone here? The Old Tree snorted coldly. When the surrounding people heard this, they nodded. Indeed, if the Old Tree was afraid of the City Lord's mansion, he probably would have just handed Luoluo over. But now, not only did Yixian scold Huang Chengyi, the Old Tree even killed a reverend of the City Lord's mansion. He obviously did not care about the City Lord's mansion. Where did these 3 people come from? At this time, Huang Chengyi also felt that he had provoked an expert. He guessed that the Old Tree was a demon. The true form of a demon was the strongest. However, the Old Tree could kill a 5th level fulfillment realm martial practitioner instantly without transforming into his true form. If he transformed into his true form, wouldn't he be even stronger? The Old Tree was originally a heaven-piercing beast, but after being refined into a treasure, he was considered a demon. In human form, his combat strength naturally could not compare to his true form. If he transformed into his true form, with the beast god bloodline and 2 combat skills, he should be able to fight a 7th level fulfillment realm expert. This was why Yixian did not care about the Flying Sand City Lord's mansion. You just wait. Huang Chengyi was a little scared. A 5th level fulfillment realm expert had his head ripped off by the Old Tree. This strength was enough to kill all of them. You want to leave? The Old Tree immediately shot forward and reached out with both hands. In the blink of an eye, the other 5th level fulfillment realm expert's head was twisted off as well. The Old Tree was a strength type. Even in human form, his strength was far greater than a normal person's. In the blink of an eye, Huang Chengyi was the only one left among the 3 5th level fulfillment realm martial practitioners. Go! Huang Chengyi hurriedly shouted when he saw the other party charging at him menacingly. However, the 6 4th level fulfillment realm martial practitioners beside him stood there like wooden dummies. After all, they were under Yixian's control. Since you are the grandson of the Flying Sand City Lord, then I can easily enter the City Lord's mansion by controlling you. Yixian thought to himself. He immediately used the Scorching Hell and the Eye of Control on Huang Chengyi. Ding! Control failed. Ding! Control failed. Ding! Control failed. Yixian was taken aback by the 3 consecutive system notifications. Young Master, let me help you. Luoluo muttered as her eyes turned pink. However, her charm did not have much effect on Huang Chengyi. How is this possible? She's only at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm. Why can't she control the illusion when she's already in it? Yixian could not believe it. Right now, he was at the 4th level of the fulfillment realm. He was only 1 level below Huang Chengyi. Huang Chengyi was easily trapped in the Scorching Hell, but he could not be controlled by Yixian. It seemed that he had some tricks up his sleeve. Eye of Revelation. At this time, Yixian used the Eye of Revelation to examine Huang Chengyi carefully. He found a black in the latter's head. What is that? Yixian looked at it. The black dot was only 1/10 the size of a fingernail. It looked like a crystal, but Yixian's Eye of Revelation could not see through it. It seemed that Huang Chengyi could not be controlled because of this black crystal. If I can't control him, then I can't enter the City Lord's mansion. However, if I can hold Huang Chengyi hostage, then the result will be the same. Yixian thought for a moment and then gave the order to the 6 4th level fulfillment realm martial practitioners. Immediately, the 6 of them left behind their interspatial rings and left. The 6 of them went back to report. They have guts, daring to hold Huang Qingyi hostage in Flying Sand City. Are they trying to become enemies with the entire city lord's mansion? I have to say, these three people are not to be underestimated. That bald old man is probably at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. So what if he's at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm? I heard that the Flying Sand City Lord has broken through to the 7th level of the fulfillment realm. Not to mention, there are 2 6th level fulfillment realm martial practitioners in the city lord's mansion. They're dead for sure. Let's retreat quickly. There will probably be a big battle later. The surrounding passers-by retreated. How dare you hold me hostage? You're courting death. Huang Qingyi finally broke out of the illusion and cursed loudly. Don't talk nonsense, or this old man will take your head. Old Tree grabbed Huang Qingyi's neck with his hand. At the same time, he took Huang Qingyi's universe ring and threw it to Yixian. There must be a lot of good things in the universe ring of Flying Sand City's young city lord, right? Yixian's lips curled slightly. He took the universe ring and examined it. As expected, there were more than 500,000 fulfillment pills inside. He really made a big profit. Just a little more and I can break through to the 5th level of the fulfillment realm. At that time, even an 8th level fulfillment realm martial practitioner may not be able to kill me, let alone a 7th level fulfillment realm martial practitioner. When he thought of this, Yixian subconsciously showed a confident expression. Soon, a group of angry people came from the city lord's mansion. The leader was a middle-aged man at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. Behind him was a woman at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm and a large group of people. Qingyi! After that woman arrived, she immediately opened her eyes wide and shouted, "Who are you? Why are you holding my son hostage?" The middle-aged man asked in an interrogative tone. "We were just passers-by, but your son threatened me and said that if I didn't hand over my sister to him, I wouldn't be able to leave Flying Sand City. So, he has to pay the price for what he said." Yixian replied indifferently. "Price?" The middle-aged man turned to look and found that there were bloodstains on the ground, but no corpses. Where were the 2 guards he sent to Huang Qingyi? Did you kill them? The middle-aged man's eyes spat out fire. In Flying Sand City's City Lord's mansion, there were only 2 6th level fulfillment realm martial practitioners and a dozen 5th level fulfillment realm martial practitioners. Every 5th level fulfillment realm martial practitioner was a treasure, but now 2 of them were dead. How could he not take revenge? This old one killed them. At this time, the old tree suddenly spoke. The middle-aged man focused his attention on the old tree. He felt that he couldn't see through the old tree. How was this possible? Even demons could use true energy in their human form, but the middle-aged man couldn't sense any true energy from the old tree. What was going on? However, the old tree's situation was very special. He was originally a heaven-reaching beast, and he could only take human form after being refined into a treasure. So, strictly speaking, the old tree couldn't be considered a demon. Chapter 1283. You, let go of my son, or you won't be able to walk out of Flying Sand City. The woman said angrily. Are you kidding? Let him go? Yixian couldn't help but laugh and said, I'll give you 5 minutes to prepare 1,000,000 fortune pills. Otherwise, you can take your son's body back. You dare? The middle-aged man shouted in a low voice. Do you think I don't dare? Yixian's eyes flickered. Suddenly, he took out a long sword and waved it casually. Swish! A crisp sound fell into everyone's ears, followed by an arm flying in the air. This scene happened so suddenly that no one expected it, not even the old tree. Yixian's sword had shaved off a bit of Huang Qingyi's hair. If the angle was a bit more flat, Huang Qingyi's head would have been cut off. Ah! Huang Qingyi let out a cry of pain as blood spurted out from his severed arm. He grew up in Flying Sand City and walked sideways since he was a child. He had almost never been injured since he started cultivating, so he didn't know what pain felt like. But now, one of his arms had been chopped off? What are you doing? The middle-aged man panicked and almost rushed up. Nothing, just a greeting gift. Yixian circulated his true qi and threw the severed arm to the middle-aged man's feet. He was not a simple character. His character was vengeful. If it wasn't because Huang Qingyi was still useful, he would have killed him directly. Using the word ruthless to describe Yixian was the most appropriate word. Boy, you're the first person to threaten my son in Flying Sand City and dare to ask for such an exorbitant price. the middle-aged man said while gnashing his teeth. I dare to kill him, do you believe me? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and said slowly. Very good, you're the first person to dare to talk to me like this. After the middle-aged man spat out these words with difficulty, he took out a cloth bag from his interspatial ring. Inside it, there were 100 high-grade fortune pills. A high-grade fortune pill was equivalent to 100 middle-grade fortune pills, which was equivalent to 10,000 low-grade fortune pills. 100 high-grade fortune pills was equivalent to 1,000,000 low-grade fortune pills. The middle-aged man threw the cloth bag to Yi Xian and said, Let him go. Only a future city lord like him could take out 1,000,000 fortune pills so casually. Yi Xian chuckled as he received the cloth bag and directly put it into his devouring space. His goal had finally been achieved. Ding, the host breakthrough. Without another word, Yi Xian directly swallowed the 1,000,000 fortune pill. Instantly, his aura expanded by 2 times. The middle-aged man was startled when he sensed the change. Breakthrough? Impossible. He must have deliberately suppressed his cultivation just now. To break through. The 5th level of the fulfillment realm was Yi Xian's current realm. He no longer feared anyone in Flying Sand City. Teat 2. Fine, let him go. Huang Chengyi was freed from his shackles. He immediately ran to his father. At the same time, the middle-aged man yelled, Kill them! As expected, the other party wanted to kill them after they were safe. However, the current Yi Xian no longer placed these people in his eyes. Young master, leave the 6th stage fulfillment realm one to me. Old Tree's voice rang in Yi Xian's mind. All right. Yi Xian nodded. He'd leave the others to him. Immediately, the middle-aged man and the woman charged over. Unfortunately, Yi Xian was in a hurry. He didn't want to waste any more time. Killing intent explosion. Flame Dragon's unparalleled slash. Yi Xian attacked without hesitation. His target was Huang Qingyi's mother. In the blink of an eye, the 5th stage fulfillment realm woman was devoured by the flame dragon and turned to ashes. In a situation of the same level, the only ones that could make Yi Xian fear them were the 3 reincarnators. What? The middle-aged man was shocked. His wife was an expert at the 5th stage of the fulfillment realm. How could she be instantly killed by Yi Xian, who was also at the 5th stage of the fulfillment realm? However, he didn't have time to feel sad because Old Tree instantly transformed into his true form and punched him. Boom! Even an expert at the 7th level of the fulfillment realm would be severely injured by Old Shoe's full-powered punch. The middle-aged man was stunned by the punch. Many of his bones were broken. They were both at the 6th stage of the fulfillment realm, so why was the gap between them so big? These City Lord Manor higher-ups all have that black crystal in their heads. What is it? Yi Xian was puzzled. He quickly rushed over and took the dead woman's universe ring and the undamaged black crystal. As for the others, they were all killed by a flash of white light. Naturally, this white flash was Luo Luo. However, these 4th stage fulfillment realm guards didn't have a black crystal in their heads. Among the people present, only Huang Qingyi and his parents had one. Old Tree, capture him. Yi Xian glanced out of the corner of his eyes and immediately said, No problem. Old Tree responded. A large number of branches extended from his body and grabbed the middle-aged man. Father? Huang Qingyi saw that even his 6th stage fulfillment realm father was captured and was immediately scared witless. He prepared to run away. However, the moment he turned around, Yi Xian suddenly appeared in front of him and blocked his path. What is this thing? Yi Xian held the strange black crystal in his hand and asked. I don't know. Huang Qingyi was so scared that he didn't have any temper left. He hurriedly shook his head. If he was under Yi Xian's control right now, then Yi Xian would naturally believe him. However, Yi Xian couldn't control Huang Qingyi because he also had the black crystal in his head. Naturally, he wouldn't believe him. At this time, Yi Xian suddenly turned to look at the middle-aged man and asked again, I'll give you one more chance. Tell me what this is, or he will die. Hearing Yi Xian's threatening tone, the middle-aged man gnashed his teeth in hatred. He saw his wife being killed by Yi Xian. How could he possibly answer Yi Xian's question? Kill me if you want. The middle-aged man shouted angrily. Hearing this, Huang Qingyi immediately said, Father, don't. I don't want to die. You gave this to me. Hurry and tell him. Don't be afraid. Your grandfather will avenge us. The middle-aged man said through gritted teeth. This time he had fallen. However, he didn't fall at the hands of Yi Xian, but at the hands of Huang Qingyi. If Huang Qingyi wasn't used to being bullied, how could he have provoked such a person? However, there was no room for negotiation now. All right, as you wish. Chapter 1284. Stop. A shout rang out at the same time. However, Yi Xian wouldn't stop even if the Heavenly Emperor were to descend. Rip! A crisp sound rang out. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Huang Qingyi's head flew into the air. Yi Xian actually killed him just like that? The surrounding people originally thought that Yi Xian was just making a simple threat. After all, Huang Qingyi was the young city lord of Flying Sand City. Who would have thought that Yi Xian would actually kill him? Of course, a large portion of the crowd didn't think that Yi Xian was joking. After all, Huang Qingyi's mother had already been killed. To be able to cultivate to this level, apart from the rich kids who hadn't experienced life and death situations, almost everyone could see that Yi Xian was a ruthless character. Since he dared to kill a direct descendant of the city lord's mansion in Flying Sand City, he definitely had a powerful background. However, while the crowd was still in shock, a white-haired old woman entered their sight. Another sixth stage of the fulfillment realm? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. However, when he focused his eyes, he discovered that this old woman's right eye was a little special. It seemed that he had met the right person. This white-haired old woman was probably Lu Tiangong's ex-wife who had remarried to Flying Sand City. She was also the person who possessed the all-encompassing right eye. At the same time, she was also the purpose of Yi Xian's trip. My grandson. After the white-haired old woman arrived, she murmured resentfully. Then, she focused her gaze on Yi Xian. Immediately, a surge of all-encompassing power trapped Yi Xian. Hee, insignificant skill. Yi Xian chuckled and directly extinguished this surge of all-encompassing power. At the same time, he gave this white-haired old woman a greeting gift. What? You can use the all-encompassing power from afar? The white-haired old woman was shocked. Why did Yi Xian know this too? Only someone with the all-encompassing eye could use the all-encompassing power from afar. However, Yi Xian didn't have the all-encompassing eye. How did he do it? I've already taken Lu Tiangong's left eye. My goal this time is your right eye. After Yi Xian finished speaking coldly, he turned to the middle-aged man who was trapped by the old tree's branches and said, Hand over your right eye and I'll spare your lives on account of Lu Tiangong. Lu Tiangong had already become his servant, so Yi Xian had decided to let him off and not haggle with the Huang family. After all, Luo was her reverse scale. It wasn't easy for the extremely protective Yi Xian to say such words. Lu Tiangong? You killed him? The white-haired old woman's body trembled, and her eyes widened. Although she couldn't stand Lu Tiangong and remarried, Lu Tiangong was her ex-husband after all. No, he's alive and well. Alive. Hearing this, the white-haired old woman secretly heaved a sigh of relief. But then again, Yi Xian had killed his grandson. How could he not take revenge? You killed my grandson, so I'll take your life. The white-haired old woman didn't say anything else and charged at Yi Xian with her sword. But halfway through, a scream suddenly came from the side, causing her to stop. Don't move or your son will be sucked dry of blood. Yi Xian warned. The middle-aged man was trapped by the old tree, but the old tree had already stabbed its branches into the middle-aged man's body and sucked his blood. If the old tree wanted to, the middle-aged man would be sucked dry of blood in a second and die. What do you want? The white-haired old woman gritted her teeth. She was so angry just now that she forgot that her son was still in the enemy's hands, so she immediately stopped. The 6th level of the fulfillment realm was nothing to Yi Xian, who was at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm. If Yi Xian attacked, this white-haired old woman wouldn't live for more than 3 seconds. However, the reason why Yi Xian hadn't made a move yet was because of Lu Tiangong. Of course, there were 2 other reasons. First, Yi Xian was afraid of accidentally damaging the white-haired old woman's eye of myriad forms. Second, the white-haired old woman also had that kind of black crystal in her head, so Yi Xian wanted to know what it was. Hand over your eye of myriad forms, and tell me what this is. Yi Xian opened his hand, revealing 2 black crystals in his palm. One belonged to Huang Qingyi and the other belonged to his mother. The eye of myriad forms, impossible. the white-haired old woman said with a livid expression. How could she not know the benefits of the Eye of Myriad Forms after so many years? If you can't even meet the first requirement, then forget it. Yi Xian said slowly and looked at the old tree. The old tree immediately understood and increased the sucking effect. In 3 seconds, he will become a dried corpse. Yi Xian said. The white-haired old woman wanted nothing more than to tear Yi Xian into 1,000 pieces. However, all of this was caused by the Huang family. Otherwise, Yi Xian would only come to take this Eye of Myriad Forms and give her a fake eye. Should she hand over the Eye of Myriad Forms? If she didn't hand it over, her son would die at the hands of the old tree. If she handed it over, how could she face her dead grandson and daughter-in-law? The white-haired old woman hesitated for a second, then made a decision. She would hand over the Eye of Myriad Forms first, then let her husband take it back and kill Yi Xian to avenge Huang Chengyi and his mother. All right, I'll give it to you. The white-haired old woman made her decision and took out her right eye. The Eye of Myriad Forms wasn't originally hers. She had dug out her right eye and installed it, then connected it with her qi. Fortunately, Yi Xian was only using it to devour, not to install it for himself. Otherwise, he wouldn't have done so. The white-haired old woman took out her right eye and threw it to Yi Xian. Very good. Yi Xian grinned and took the Eye of Myriad Forms, then devoured it. Ding! The host has devoured 1 Eye of Myriad Forms. When the system notification sounded, Yi Xian felt that his strength of all creations had increased significantly. If the strength of all creations increased by 1 Eye of Myriad Forms was considered 1, then 2 eyes of all creations wasn't 2, but 3, because they were a pair. Yi Xian only felt that the distance he could use his Wanxiang force from afar had increased by 2 times. This was the effect of being paired. Ding! The host has devoured a pair of Eyes of Myriad Forms. The Heavenly Eye Clan's bloodline has advanced once. Another system notification sounded, catching Yi Xian off guard. The Heavenly Eye Clan's bloodline had advanced once? That was great! The effects of the Eye of Nirvana, the Eye of Glory, the Eye of the Void, and the other heavenly eyes had all improved. Even the fuse skill, Scorching Hell, was the same. What a windfall! What a windfall! Very good. Now you can answer another question. Yi Xian couldn't hide his joy. He glanced at the 2 black crystals in his hand and said to the white-haired old woman. The white-haired old woman thought that Yi Xian was so happy because he had obtained the Eye of Myriad Forms. She paused for a moment, then answered, My husband gave this to me. He said that it can increase the strength of one's soul and cultivation speed after consuming it. Chapter 1285. Then, did you really improve? Yi Xian asked again. Yes, but I have a dream every night. I dream that I am kneeling in front of a giant black scorpion and chanting some incantations. The white-haired old woman said truthfully. What is this? After hearing this, Yi Xian also felt that it was inconceivable. To have the same dream every night, if it was him, he wouldn't be able to accept it. Young master, I've heard of this thing. At this time, Luo suddenly said in Yi Xian's mind. After all, she had inherited memories. What? Yi Xian asked curiously. This black crystal should be a type of faith crystal. This thing should be made by the giant black scorpion in the dream. After this black crystal is swallowed and refined, the person will believe in the black scorpion. Then, an endless stream of faith power will be transmitted to the black scorpion. After the black scorpion receives the faith power, it will feed back it to the believer, increasing their cultivation speed and soul strength. Luo explained. There's such a thing. Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. He originally wanted to devour this black crystal, but now it seems that he had to ask clearly before doing so. Based on my inherited memories, I can roughly guess what that black scorpion is. It should be the Cthulhu, the ancestor of the scorpion race. It used to continuously spread the Cthulhuism religion to increase the faith power. Luo continued. Cthulhu. After hearing this, Yi Xian couldn't help but tremble. He didn't know whether there was a god or not, but if it dared to call itself a god, then it probably had a strong background. After all, Luo's inherited memories contained the Cthulhu's memories. It seemed that it wasn't an ordinary person. However, Yi Xian finally understood what this was. He immediately put away the 2 black crystals. He guessed that this Flying Sand City's city lord was related to the Cthulhuism religion. Okay, I understand. Yi Xian nodded slightly. Let them go. The white-haired old woman shouted. Yi Xian's eyes turned and signaled the old tree to let them go. He was not a person who would go back on his word. Since the other party had already fulfilled his 2 requirements, he naturally could not kill the hostage. The old tree immediately let go of the middle-aged man. The middle-aged man was already covered in wounds, and there were dozens of bloody holes on his body. If he had been 2 seconds slower, he would have been sucked dry by the old tree. Yi Xian watched as the middle-aged man approached the white-haired old woman. In his heart, he wondered if the white-haired old woman would attack. Just now, he had already warned her once. If this white-haired old woman attacked him again, he would have no choice but to be ruthless. Mother, he killed Cheng Yi and Launder. Kill him. The middle-aged man, who had just escaped from danger, shouted angrily. The white-haired old woman was also hesitating because she felt that Yi Xian and the old tree were not to be trifled with. Although the middle-aged man was also at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm, he was currently heavily injured and probably only had 60 to 70% of his combat strength left. Even if the 2 of them joined forces, they might not be able to do anything to Yi Xian. Don't worry. Just now, I used a special method to contact your father. He will be here soon. The white-haired old woman said in a low voice. The middle-aged man's father was Flying Sand City's city lord, Huang Ming. He had already broken through to the 7th level of the fulfillment realm. However, Flying Sand City's city lord Huang Ming was currently receiving an important guest, so he had not yet arrived. Important guest? The middle-aged man was stunned. What kind of important guest could make his father receive him personally? Seeing that the white-haired old woman and the middle-aged man did not seem to want to attack, Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and said, Since the 2 of you do not want to take revenge, then we will take our leave first. In truth, he did not want to leave. He was just setting a trap for the other party. He had seen the white-haired old woman's small actions just now. He also knew that the white-haired old woman was notifying Flying Sand City's city lord, Huang Ming. Therefore, if he left now, the other party would think that he was afraid and attack. Simply put, he was baiting the other party to attack. Bastard! You think you can leave after killing my son? Say. Before the white-haired old woman could speak, the middle-aged man roared and attacked Yi Xian with his bare hands. After the old tree captured him, he had already taken his interspatial ring, so he did not have a weapon. I fell for it. The moment Yi Xian turned around, he heard the sound of wind. He immediately circulated all of his true energy and 10,000 mammoth strength and slashed with his sword. Eye of Glory. Killing Intent Explosion. Flame Dragon's Peerless Slash. Although the glorious golden armor did not appear, it was not necessary to use the Eye of Glory to activate it. Once the set was successfully refined, it would already be effective. The set was only used to defend and protect one's life. In an instant, the flame dragon roared and swallowed the middle-aged man. The white-haired old woman's heart trembled, and she hurriedly attacked. However, at this time, she remembered that she no longer had the Eye of Myriad Mammoths, so she could not use 10,000 mammoth strength from a distance. Therefore, she could only watch as one of her sons turned into ashes. I'll kill you. The white-haired old woman finally could not hold back anymore. I gave you a chance to live, but you did not cherish it. Since that is the case, then you can go on your way. Yi Xian's eyes widened, and he instantly split into 2. Ice and Fire Twin Dragon's Sword Array. At the same time, the old tree's figure flashed, and he flanked the white-haired old woman from behind. The white-haired old woman also had the faith crystal in her body, so her cultivation speed was much faster. Therefore, she was about to break through to the 7th level of the fulfillment realm, the peak of the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. She was twice as strong as her son. Even without the Eye of Myriad Mammoths, she was not easy to deal with. Unfortunately, her opponents were Yi Xian and the old tree. Twin Dragon Roar. Piercing Strike. Yi Xian and the old tree used all of their skills, preparing to insta-kill the white-haired old woman. This piercing strike was the old tree's strongest attack without the use of any artifact skills. It could transform his right hand into a thick spike and rapidly thrust it out. At this time, you dare to behave atrociously in my Flying Sand City. You are courting death. An explosive shout came from the sky, and at the same time, there was a sharp sound of something breaking through the air. Bang! Yi Xian's twin dragon roar collided with another wave of true energy and exploded. However, the old tree's piercing strike was not blocked by the enemy. Rip! The spike formed by the old tree's right hand pierced the white-haired old woman's chest and heart. Now, both of Flying Sand City's 6th-level Fulfillment Realm experts were dead. The newcomer was naturally the Flying Sand City City Lord, Huang Ming. His grandson, son, daughter-in-law, and wife were all dead. The Flying Sand City City Lord was probably going to go berserk. Is he really at the 7th level of the Fulfillment Realm? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and thought to himself. If it was before, he would be somewhat afraid, but now he was at the 5th level of the Fulfillment Realm. He was only 2 realms away from the enemy, and he had not used many of his trump cards yet. What was there to be afraid of? Chapter 1286. In fact, this group of onlookers would subconsciously retreat when someone died, but they were curious and didn't want to miss this good show, so they didn't leave. Now, Flying Sand City City Lord, Huang Ming, came out. So, what will the end result be? This group of onlookers was very curious. Will Yi Xian and the old tree kill Flying Sand City City Lord, or will they be beheaded by Flying Sand City City Lord and hung in front of Flying Sand City City Lord? The end result will depend on this battle. You killed my family. I will tear you into pieces. Flying Sand City City Lord, Huang Ming, was furious and directly launched an attack at Yi Xian. You came at the right time, you finally came. Yi Xian's eyes flickered, and the corner of his mouth couldn't help but curl up. This time, he was going to use his ultimate move. At that moment, the old tree directly condensed a green wooden seal and threw it into the distance. After this wooden seal flew past Flying Sand City City Lord, Huang Ming, it quickly grew, and vines stretched out, wrapping around Huang Ming. At the same time, the old tree also held a wooden seal, and countless vines stretched out. The two sides connected, instantly trapping Yi Xian, the old tree, and Flying Sand City City Lord, Huang Ming, in an airtight encirclement. Magical Treasure Skill. Divine Wood Prison. Before being refined into a magical treasure, the old tree actually also knew the Divine Wood Prison, but after being refined into a magical treasure skill, the Divine Wood Prison's strength was far greater than before. Break for me! Flying Sand City City Lord, Huang Ming, didn't react in time and was trapped. He immediately slashed with his sword, ready to break the prison. However, his all-out sword strike was only able to leave a mark on the prison. This magical treasure skill could be used to restrict the enemy, but it could also be used for defense. It was very practical. Flying Sand City City Lord, I will give you a chance. Tell me the whereabouts of the Xianming duo demons, and I will spare your life. Yi Xian suddenly opened his mouth and said. The duration of the Divine Wood Prison was a full 10 seconds, which was more than enough for him. Xianming duo demons? Hearing this name, Flying Sand City's City Lord Huang Ming was somewhat stunned, because this was the first time he had heard of this name. However, he did not associate this name with the 2 people he had escorted before. After all, they were escorted by his wife. Brat, you killed my wife and child. How dare you ask me a question? You're courting death. The Flying Sand City Lord did not say anything and directly rushed towards Yi Xian with his sword in hand. The reason why Yi Xian let the old tree use the Divine Wood Prison was because he was afraid that the Flying Sand City Lord would escape. With the Divine Wood Prison, the Flying Sand City Lord would definitely die. Since you don't want to talk, then forget it. Yi Xian shook his head. Nalan Bing had a death warrant on her, so he didn't have to ask her clearly. Blade Storm. Yi Xian had already made up his mind to kill Wei Zhentian, so he immediately tossed Wei Zhentian out. Wei Zhentian, who was at the 6th level of the Fulfillment Realm, instantly transformed into thousands of bloody lights that shot toward the Flying Sand City Lord. What? The Flying Sand City Lord was shocked. He paused and hastily blocked. Although he was at the 7th level of the Fulfillment Realm, Wei Zhentian was at the 6th level of the Fulfillment Realm. In Yi Xian's heart, the Flying Sand City Lord was already a dead man. In the blink of an eye, the Flying Sand City Lord was surrounded by the bloody swords and then ravaged by thousands of bloody swords. In less than 3 seconds, Yi Xian heard a system notification sound. Ding, the host's killing intent has increased. This system notification undoubtedly proved that the Flying Sand City Lord had been killed by Wei Zhentian. The Flying Sand City Lord might have some connection with the Cthulhuism Society, but Yi Xian was not interested in the Cthulhuism Society, so he was too lazy to investigate. In the Divine Wood prison, a figure flew out from the sky. Yi Xian hastily used the Eye of Myriad Forms to collect the corpse. The corpse was thrown into the planting space. As for the Yin and Yang ring and the faith crystal, they were collected by Yi Xian. However, when Yi Xian checked the other party's Yin and Yang ring, he was shocked. In the Flying Sand City Lord's Yin and Yang ring, other than 2 million worth of wealth, there was also a bag of black faith crystals. Why are there so many? Yi Xian was shocked. From just now until now, including the one in the Flying Sand City Lord's head, he had only obtained a total of 5 faith crystals. But now, there were more than 1,000 faith crystals in this bag. What was going on? If there were so many, why didn't he share them with others, such as the 5th and 4th level Fulfillment Realm guards who died just now? Wait. Just now Lu Tiangong's ex-wife said that the Flying Sand City Lord was receiving an important guest. Could it be? Yi Xian's mind suddenly flashed. Could this important guest be a member of the Cthulhuism Society? Was he the one who gave the Flying Sand City Lord so many faith crystals and prepared to distribute them to increase the number of believers? Thinking about it this way, it really was possible. If that was the case, then there was probably another expert in Flying Sand City, and that was the Cthulhuism Society's apostle. He did not know how strong this Cthulhuism Society apostle was. Was he at the 7th level of the Fulfillment Realm, 8th level of the Fulfillment Realm, or 9th level of the Fulfillment Realm? Yi Xian could not guess. However, at this time, there was a sudden explosion outside the Divine Wood prison. Yi Xian looked up and found that a large hole had been blasted open in the Divine Wood prison. Then, a figure rushed in. At the same time, Yi Xian's eye of perception also felt an extremely strong aura. The newcomer was a middle-aged man wearing a black robe, and behind him was a long and thick scorpion tail. The Scorpion Man race. Boy, you killed him? The black-robed scorpion man's eyes flashed as he questioned. That's right. Yi Xian nodded directly with a fearful expression. This was because he felt that this black-robed scorpion man should be an expert at the 8th level of the Fulfillment Realm. After hearing Yi Xian's answer, the black-robed scorpion man nodded in satisfaction and said, "To be able to cultivate to this level at such a young age, and even kill Huang Ming 2 levels above you, your talent is very good. From now on, you are the Flying Sand City Lord." I am the Flying Sand City Lord? Yi Xian frowned slightly. Could it be that the Flying Sand City Lord needed to be appointed? Shouldn't the position be held by the strong? He remembered that Lu Tiangong said that Flying Sand City had existed for a long time, but after the City Lord died and the new City Lord changed, it became stronger day by day. If Yi Xian wanted to, he could be the Flying Sand City Lord. However, he did not want to. I am the Cthulhuism Society Apostle Scorpion Flow. From now on, you will be my spokesperson in Flying Sand City. As the black-robed scorpion man spoke, he took out a large faith crystal from his universe ring and threw it to Yi Xian, saying, "Consume this and become the servant of the Cthulhuism god. It will make you stronger." Yi Xian caught the faith crystal and sized it up with narrowed eyes. Chapter 1287. Who is the evil god? Yi Xian pretended not to know anything and asked. The evil god is the master I worship. He is the ancestor of my scorpion man race. His strength is not something you can imagine. Now that I am giving you this chance, it is your 100 lifetimes of good fortune. You must cherish it, Xia Lu said in a superior tone. Although Yi Xian had killed Flying Sand City Lord Huang Ming, who was at the 7th stage of the Fulfillment Realm, it was not worth mentioning in his eyes. Oh, then what if I don't want to join the Evil God Society? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and asked curiously. Then you will have to die here. Xia Lu suddenly erupted with a powerful aura and said in a tough tone, "Hurry up, I will give you 3 breaths of time. I still have things to do." 3 breaths of time was enough for people at Yi Xian's level to think. However, Yi Xian did not need to think at all. Asking him to join the Evil God Society and become the Evil God's apostle, what kind of joke was this? If you can catch me, I will join. The corners of Yi Xian's mouth slightly curled up. With a thought, the 1,000 blood swords transformed into streaks of blood-colored light that attacked the scorpion stream. Shameless boasting. Since you don't cherish this chance, then die. After Xia Lu finished speaking angrily, he circulated the manifestation power in his body and sent the blood swords flying. Haha, why don't you try again? Yi Xian suddenly laughed loudly. Ding! Wei Zhentian has broken through. Currently at the 7th stage of the Fulfillment Realm. the system suddenly notified. Just now, he had devoured the things in Flying Sand City Lord Huang Ming's universe ring, which allowed Wei Zhentian to break through. Now, Wei Zhentian still had a few seconds, so it was possible to kill Xia Lu. Yi Xian knew that if he killed Xia Lu, he might be able to break through to the 6th stage of the fulfillment realm. This Xia Lu must die. Old Tree, prepare to use Mad Python Sweep at any time. Yi Xian hurriedly said in his mind. Okay. Old Shu responded and also charged towards the scorpion stream. Although the cooldown of Mad Python Sweep was 3 days, as long as they could kill Xia Lu, it was worth it even if it took 10 days. The two treasures and Yi Xian attacked Xia Lu together, but the latter was an 8th stage fulfillment realm expert and did not put them in his eyes. Petty tricks. Deh. Xia Lu shouted, and the black scorpion tail behind him suddenly extended and stabbed towards Old Shu. The speed of this attack was even faster than Old Shu's piercing strike. Old Shu's heart of the demon tree was instantly pierced. And Yi Xian's face darkened as he felt an enormous pressure. He wondered if the divine tree of life's bloodline would be effective if the attack hit him. Would he be turned into ashes like the old tree? Fortunately, the old tree had been refined into a treasure and had an immortal body. Even if his heart was pierced or his entire body was turned into ashes, he would not die. At that moment, Yi Xian summoned him once again, and his foothold was behind the scorpion flow. How dare you kill me? Take this. Old Tree's violent temper suddenly showed, and he directly used his strongest attack. Mad Python Sweep. Immediately, countless sharp thorns extended from the divine wood prison and stabbed at Xia Lu. Mad Python Sweep could be used by the old tree himself, but it could also be used together with the divine wood prison. Of course, the effect would be better with the divine wood prison. What? Why aren't you dead? Xia Lu was shocked. Just now, he clearly killed the old tree. But now, why did the old tree suddenly appear again? But now, there was no time for him to think. Scorpion King Ama. Xia Lu circulated all the true qi in his body and condensed it into a shadow. A huge scorpion formed by the power of all things appeared and protected Xia Lu. Puff, puff, puff. However, the power of the Mad Python Sweep was beyond his expectations. Many of the thorns pierced through the scorpion shadow and sank into Xia Lu's body. How dare you hurt me when you're only at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm? You're courting death. Xia Lu was furious. Fortunately, he was at the 8th level of the fulfillment realm. If he was at the 7th level of the fulfillment realm, he would probably have died under this attack. Damn, it's amazing to have a powerful background. This divine ability is probably a top-grade fulfillment divine ability. Yi Xian exclaimed in his heart. Divine abilities were actually divided into low-grade, mid-grade, and high-grade divine abilities. Top-grade divine abilities were actually the best of the high-grade divine abilities and were closest to the shattering divine abilities. It was precisely because of this that Xia Lu was not dead. Sword Blade Storm, kill him! Yi Xian roared in his mind. Scorpion King Ama. Xia Lu once again formed a giant scorpion shadow, but the power of the Sword Blade Storm was even stronger than the Mad Python Sweep. This giant scorpion shadow instantly collapsed, and thousands of blood swords swept past. Then, Yi Xian heard a system notification sound. Ding, the host's killing intent has increased. This meant that Xia Lu was already dead. However, even without this system notification sound, Yi Xian could see that. After all, Xia Lu's body was already riddled with holes, and even his head had been pierced several times. This Xia Lu was not Yi Xian. If he still did not die like this, then Yi Xian might as well kill himself by smashing his head against a wall. What Cthulhuism society poo! Yi Xian could not help but curse. However, this could not be blamed on the Cthulhuism society for being too weak. It was because he was too strong. When he used his trump cards, not many people could stop him. The reason why the Sword Blade Storm and the Mad Python Sweep were so powerful was because Yi Xian had consumed a large amount of Killing Intent and used Killing Intent Explosion. Just these two moves had consumed half of his Killing Intent. However, after Xia Lu died, his Killing Intent increased instead of decreasing. It was definitely worth it. At that moment, Yi Xian quickly rushed over and collected Xia Lu's corpse and universe ring. He also took out the faith crystal in Xia Lu's head. Let me see how many good things you have. Yi Xian began to explore Xia Lu's universe ring excitedly. However, to his disappointment, there was nothing in Xia Lu's universe ring except for a few thousand faith crystals. In total, there were only about 300,000 fulfillment pills. He was really poor. Damn, you are at least at the 8th level of the fulfillment realm, and an apostle of the Cthulhuism Society. How can you be so poor? How can you face your Cthulhuism god? Yi Xian could not help but curse. He had used his trump card to kill the opponent, but he did not expect to lose so much. It seemed that Xia Lu had come out to wantonly distribute faith crystals, which was to expand faith. What a pity! Yi Xian shook his head. However, at this moment, young master, you can give these faith crystals to me. I have a way to purify them. After purification you can use them. Chapter 1288. What? Little girl, you have a way? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. Yes, I can absorb the purified faith crystal. It will be much faster than using natural treasures to cultivate, Luo Luo replied. At this time, Yi Xian remembered Luo Luo's unique heavenly loathing fox physique. Besides, Luo Luo was also a beast man like the scorpion men. All right, I'll give you all of these. Yi Xian nodded and put the items into the planting space. He had already tried using the normal devouring method to absorb the faith crystal, but it didn't benefit him much. Now that Luo Luo had a way, he wanted to try again after purifying it. Let me try purifying it first. Luo Luo picked up a faith crystal in the planting space and began to purify it with her own method. Yi Xian sank his consciousness into the planting space and found that the black faith crystal slowly turned transparent. In the end, it turned into a transparent crystal. It's purified. Young master, see if you can use it. Luo Luo handed the purified faith crystal to Yi Xian. Yi Xian tried using a special devouring method and found that there was no other benefit. It only increased his cultivation by a little. It's useless to me. Give it to the old tree. Yi Xian shook his head. Luo Luo purified another one. However, the old tree couldn't even absorb it. Therefore these faith crystals all belong to Luo Luo. If I purify and absorb all of these faith crystals, I should be able to reach the 6th level of the fulfillment realm at least. Luo Luo estimated. She was currently at the 4th level of the fulfillment realm. That meant that she could increase her cultivation by 2 levels. This was still within a short period of time. It was indeed much faster than refining natural treasures. All right, then I'll help you get more. Yi Xian nodded with a smile. Originally, he didn't want to get involved with the Cthulhuism Society. However, he had no choice but to start investigating for various reasons. First, this scorpion men obviously came from the Desert of Despair because that was where the scorpion men lived. Coincidentally, the Xianming duo demons were also in that direction. Second, these faith crystals were useful to Luo Luo. Yi Xian could go and collect them. Therefore, Yi Xian had already formulated a plan in his heart, which was to enter the Desert of Despair. As for how to investigate, it couldn't be any simpler. Yi Xian just had to use the Eye of Revelation to see who had the faith crystal in their body. Of course, before entering the Desert of Despair, Yi Xian had to loot the City Lord Manor. After all, the City Lord and his wife had already fallen. Now that the City Lord's manor was without a leader, who could stop him? This time, however, Yi Xian was a little disappointed. Because Flying Sand City's City Lord Huang Ming had given away a large amount of treasures to the Cthulhuism Society, the City Lord's mansion was now very poor. Forget it, let's just enter the Desert of Despair. Yi Xian sighed. He then passed through Flying Sand City and entered the Desert of Despair. However, after he left Flying Sand City also became noisy. The City Lord of the 7th Stage Fulfillment Realm had fallen. The son and wife of the 6th Stage Fulfillment Realm City Lord had also died. Therefore, the 5th Stage Fulfillment Realm experts all formed groups and started to fight. As for who was the City Lord of Flying Sand City in the end, Yi Xian couldn't be bothered to care. His current goal was to find the Cthulhuism Society as soon as possible, and then loot the faith crystal to help Luo Luo level up. Of course, the most important thing was to find the Xianming duo demons to prevent future troubles. From the map of the Desert of Despair, the Xianming duo demons seemed to be in the Desert of Despair as well. Yi Xian sat on the back of Wei Zhentian, who had transformed into a sky dragon. He held a map of the Desert of Despair in his hand. The Desert of Despair was an extremely dangerous place. Very few people who entered could come out alive. However, the Scorpion Men lived in the Desert of Despair and were naturally familiar with it. Moreover, the reason why very few people came out alive was mostly because of the Scorpion Men. Xia Lu was a member of the Scorpion Men, but even so, he didn't have a map of the entire Desert of Despair. This map doesn't record the location of the Cthulhuism Society. It seems that I have to investigate. Yi Xian's eyes flashed. This map only recorded a few Scorpion Men tribes. The Cthulhuism Society's location was not recorded. However, if the Cthulhuism Society had spread beyond the Desert of Despair, then the tribes in the Desert of Despair should have been assimilated. In that case, Yi Xian could start his investigation from these tribes. He immediately rode the 7th level fulfillment realm Wei Zhentian towards a Scorpion Man tribe. Riding the 7th level fulfillment realm Wei Zhentian, Yi Xian only spent an hour to arrive at the first Scorpion Men tribe. Although he didn't know the name of this tribe, it didn't matter because the strongest person was only at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. After arriving, Yi Xian instinctively scanned with the Eye of Revelation. This Scorpion Men tribe wasn't big. There were only 500 people, but almost all of them were in the fulfillment realm. Only the little Scorpion Men were in the Nether Passage realm. Moreover, they all had faith crystals in their bodies. Even the children were no exception. Who is the leader? Come out. Yi Xian's voice spread throughout the entire tribe. Immediately, a 5th level fulfillment realm Scorpion Men expert flew into the air and stood opposite Yi Xian. Human, a mere 5th level fulfillment realm cultivator dares to shout in front of the Black Wind tribe? Who gave you the guts? The Scorpion Men expert said angrily. The Scorpion Men looked very similar to the human race. The only difference was that they had a long scorpion tail. Yi Xian looked at the Scorpion Men expert and glanced at him. As expected, he also had a faith crystal in his head. Eye of Control. He immediately attacked without another word. However, he heard a system notification that he didn't want to hear. Ding! Control failed. They were both at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm, and because of the Eye of Myriad Forms, the power of the Eye of Control was increased by a level. However, Yi Xian couldn't control his opponent. What the hell? Kid, you want to control me? Dang! The Scorpion Men expert immediately reacted and attacked Yi Xian. Wei Zhentian, capture him. Yi Xian gave the order to Wei Zhentian. Immediately, the green dragon that Wei Zhentian had transformed again, directly transforming into a green giant. Then, with a grab, it grabbed the expert of the Scorpion race. What? The Scorpion Men expert was in disbelief. How did a heavenly dragon suddenly turn into a giant? Moreover, he was instantly captured. Human, what are you doing? Do you want to become enemies with the Black Wind tribe? An old figure floated over from afar. Yi Xian turned around and saw an old Scorpion Men expert leading several Scorpion Men experts over. You are all believers of the Evil God Society, right? Yi Xian didn't beat around the bush. What? Chapter 1289. Tell me how to find the Evil God Society. Yi Xian asked directly again. Humph, what do you want? The Scorpion Man elder's heart shook. He felt that Yi Xian didn't come with good intentions. You don't need to know what I'm going to do. You just need to tell me where the Evil God Society is. Yi Xian said. Although it was just a question, these Scorpion Men were all believers of the Evil God Society. Now that Yi Xian wanted to find the Evil God Society, they naturally wouldn't tell him. Plus, they didn't know. You dare to ask about the Evil God Society's whereabouts? You must be up to no good. You two go and capture him. The Scorpion Man elder said to the 2 5th level fulfillment realm experts beside him. Yes, Chief. The 2 5th level fulfillment realm Scorpion Men nodded and immediately rushed toward Yi Xian. If that's the case, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Yi Xian didn't waste time and attacked immediately. His body was as fast as lightning. In the blink of an eye, the 2 5th level fulfillment realm Scorpion Men's heads were thrown into the air. Yi Xian didn't need to use divine abilities to deal with martial practitioners of the same level. Bang! At the same time, the Scorpion Man Wei Zhentian grabbed was crushed by Wei Zhentian. The Scorpion Man elder's eyes turned red when he saw the 3 5th level fulfillment realm experts in the tribe who were weaker than him die in an instant. One of them was even his son. He knew that the Black Wind tribe was in great trouble this time, but since they believed in the evil god, they naturally had to fight to the death. All warriors of the tribe, Listen to my order and kill the enemy. The Scorpion Man elder shouted and charged toward Yi Xian. Although the Black Wind tribe only had 500 people, there were more than 100 third-level Fulfillment Realm warriors. In an instant, 100 people followed the Scorpion Man elder and charged toward Yi Xian. This evil god society is evil. Yi Xian's eyes flashed as he ordered Wei Zhentian to attack. Boom! 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 In the sky above the Black Wind tribe, loud noises rang out unceasingly as corpses fell one after another. According to Luoluo, almost all of the people who believed in the evil god had lost their minds and were controlled by the evil god. Once someone spoke ill of the evil god, they would do their best to kill that person. Therefore, the Cthulhuism Society did not exist for long before it was destroyed. In a short span of 3 seconds, Wei Zhentian single-handedly swept through the entire Black Wind tribe, killing over 100 Black Wind tribe warriors. The warriors of the Black Wind tribe were at least at the 3rd level of the Fulfillment Realm. As for the others, they were not considered combat power. Seeing Wei Zhentian take care of all the experts by himself, the group of Black Wind tribe Scorpion men were shocked. Run! The leader is dead. This human is too cruel. Everyone, run. Human, the evil god will definitely punish you. Just you wait. The moment these scorpions swallowed the faith crystal, they became the slaves of the evil god. Therefore they believed that the evil god was the strongest in this world. Previously, when the Flying Sand City's city lord and the others consumed the faith crystal, the effect was not as good. It was because the Flying Sand City's city lord was a human. Therefore at the beginning, it was just a dream for them to subtly influence them. If it was the Scorpion men who consumed the faith crystal, they would immediately become the most loyal followers. Hearing the angry roars of the Scorpion men below, Yi Xian directly chose to ignore them. Survival of the fittest. He had long since calmed down. Immediately, he cleaned up the battlefield and kept the yin and yang rings. He left the corpses for their tribesmen to bury. Since he could not ask this tribe, then he would go to the next tribe. After all, Yi Xian's goal this time was to destroy the Cthulhuism Society. Alright, his real goal was the Faith Crystal and the Xian Ming Duo demons. Beside the Black Wind tribe, there was another tribe that was slightly stronger than the Black Wind tribe. Yi Xian rode Wei Zhentian and only took 10 minutes to arrive. Similarly, this tribe was also like the Black Wind tribe. Everyone in this tribe had become followers of the Cthulhuism Society and became the Cthulhuism Society's faith power. Just like before, Yi Xian killed all those who wanted to capture him to gain merit. At this speed, I will be able to break through to the 6th level of the Fulfillment Realm in a day. On the way to the next tribe, Yi Xian thought to himself. However, on the way, he first heard a system notification. Chapter 1290. No problem. Yi Xian immediately summoned the old tree from the planting space. The old tree didn't have true energy and wasn't a bird, but it could grow a pair of wooden wings to fly. In less than a second, the 3 6th level Fulfillment Realm experts were killed by the 2 magic treasures one after another. The Universe Ring also fell into Yi Xian's hands. Berserker tribe, send some capable fighters. The leisurely Yi Xian shouted at the sky. His voice was heard by everyone in the Berserker tribe. This was a provocation to the entire Berserker tribe. No one would dare to do this if they weren't strong enough. Naturally, the 7th level Fulfillment Realm experts had to move. However, before they arrived, a lot of small fries rushed out. There were more than 100 of them, and they were ready to kill Yi Xian and the others. How dare you cause trouble in my Berserker tribe, human? Humph, surrender, or you'll suffer. How many years has it been? Finally, a decent human has come. Kill. A group of people roared and charged toward Yi Xian. Noisy. Yi Xian finally couldn't hold back and summoned the double dragon sword bell. Then, a dragon's roar spread. Buzz! In the blink of an eye, countless people fell from the sky. Other than a few 6th level Fulfillment Realm experts, everyone else had fainted. Those with lower realms even had their heads blown apart. So strong. The Scorpion men at the 6th level of the Fulfillment Realm swallowed a mouthful of saliva. However, 2 figures were already charging toward them from the left and right. Rip. Bang. Boom. After a few sounds, only Yi Xian and the others were left in the sky. However, the group below them wasn't completely dead yet. Fortunately, both the old tree and Megatron could attack groups. The former's body extended countless spikes, while the latter turned into an arrow tower and shot wildly. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. Yi Xian was in a good mood when he heard the system notifications. Among these people, the weakest was at the 4th level of the fulfillment realm, and the stronger ones were at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. With so many killing intent points added together, it was no less than the 7th level of the fulfillment realm. If I can exterminate all the scorpion men in the Desert of Despair, my killing intent value might reach the upper limit again. However, if I want to do that, I have to suppress my realm and not break through. Yi Xian thought to himself. The upper limit of killing intent would increase with the increase of devouring points and realm. Previously, Yi Xian had already exchanged for devouring points, so the upper limit of killing intent had increased by 1 level. However, the Desert of Despair was so big, and there were thousands of tribes. As long as they all went there, not to mention 1, even 2 was possible. At the thought of this, Yi Xian's lips curled up slightly. What he lacked the most now was devouring points. If he had devouring points, his combat bloodline, physique bloodline, and support bloodline would be able to fuse and become stronger bloodlines. Just as he was fantasizing, several powerful scorpion men experts charged out of the Berserker tribe. 3 of them were at the 7th level of the fulfillment realm. Is the real deal here? Yi Xian's eyes flashed as he looked at the 3 scorpion men experts in front of him. These 3 scorpion men at the 7th level of the fulfillment realm were the 3 leaders of the Berserker tribe. Human, why have you come to our Berserker tribe? The middle-aged man in the lead questioned. Nothing, I just want to find the location of the evil god society and exterminate them. Yi Xian shrugged and said. What, you want to exterminate the evil god society? What kind of joke is this? A mere 5th level of the fulfillment realm dares to speak so arrogantly. He's dead for sure now, the 3 leaders are on the move, he's dead for sure. The followers of the evil god outside were shouting and yelling. Not only that, the 3 7th level fulfillment realm leaders were burning with anger. They were the most loyal believers of the evil god, so they naturally wouldn't let someone exterminate the evil god society go. Kill, leave no one alive. The scorpion man in the lead immediately shouted and charged toward Yi Xian. Although Yi Xian was only at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm, he felt that Yi Xian was perhaps the strongest of the 3. Come at me! Yi Xian shouted loudly as he directly used the Ice and Fire Twin Dragon Sword formation. The other 2 were left to the Old Tree and Wei Zhentian. These 4 were all at the 7th level of the fulfillment realm, but Yi Xian was very confident in Old Tree and Wei Zhentian. Boy, how dare you disrespect the evil god, die! The great leader of the Berserker tribe shouted. At the same time, the scorpion tail behind him shot a poisonous spike toward Yi Xian. Child's play. Yi Xian didn't care at all, and his eyes flashed. Eye of decomposition. The broken wing's poisonous spike wasn't big, only the size of an index finger, but the poison on it could paralyze a 6th level fulfillment realm heaven-reaching beast. Unfortunately, the Eye of Decomposition likes small things like this. BZZT BZZT. The poisonous spike was disintegrated by Yi Xian with a soft sound and disappeared. You're quite capable. Take this. The great leader of the Berserker tribe attacked again when he saw that his attack had failed. His weapons were 2 giant hammers, and every time he swung them down, they were magnified by the power of 10,000 mammoths. One hit was enough to heavily injure a 6th level fulfillment realm heaven-reaching beast, let alone a 5th level human like Yi Xian. However, this was only possible if the hammers hit Yi Xian. Shadow of the Imperial Wind Dragon. The 2 Yi Xians respectively displayed their growth ability and easily dodged the 2 sledgehammers. Then, they spat out dragon breaths from the left and right sides. Killing intent explosion. Twin Dragon Roar. This move could be considered Yi Xian's current strongest attack. Seeing this, the face of the Berserker tribe's great leader sank to the bottom. He didn't expect a 5th level fulfillment realm human to be able to unleash such a powerful attack. Don't underestimate me. The great leader of the Berserker tribe didn't intend to retreat when he remembered that so many tribesmen were watching behind him. He wanted to defeat the Twin Dragon Roar. Skyquake Hammer. The great leader of the Berserker tribe raised the 2 giant hammers above his head and used his true energy and power of 10,000 mammoths to form a square giant hammer shadow. Then he smashed it down. Boom! The giant hammer shadow and the Twin Dragon Roar collided, creating thousands of shockwaves. This move was the great leader of the Berserker tribe. It was a high-grade fulfillment divine ability, and the hammers were powerful to begin with. It actually blocked Yi Xian's attack. Unfortunately, Yi Xian could use his ultimate move whenever he wanted. He didn't need to worry about it at all. Killing Intent Explosion. Twin Dragon Roar. The two dragon breaths, one ice and one fire, merged to form an extremely powerful dragon breath. It broke through the shockwaves and blasted toward the great leader of the Berserker tribe. What? The great leader of the Berserker tribe was stunned. His reaction was clearly slower, and he was instantly hit by the twin dragon roar. Impossible. I can't die from this attack. Chapter 1291. Fortunately, Berserker tribe's great leader still had many clansmen behind him. They all used the power of 10,000 mammoths on him. An instant later, the twin dragon roar ended, and Berserker tribe's great leader barely survived. If it weren't for those clansmen, Berserker tribe's great leader would have died under that attack. However, this could only prolong his life for a short time. Twin Dragon Roar. Another wave of dragon breath erupted. This time, Berserker tribe's great leader had no chance of surviving. After being swallowed by the dragon breath, he died instantly. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. A system notification rang in Yi Xian's mind. 3 consecutive twin dragon roars and 3 bursts of killing intent had consumed a lot of his true energy and killing intent. However, it was worth it to kill a 7th-level fulfillment realm expert. At this moment, Yi Xian glanced over from the corner of his eye, and noticed that Wei Zhantian and Elder Shu hadn't finished their battle yet. His 5th level of the fulfillment realm was actually the fastest. Let me see how many good things you have as the great leader of Berserker tribe. Yi Xian used the power of 10,000 mammoths to grab Berserker tribe's great leader's universe ring and faith crystal. In comparison, Flying Sand City's City Lord Mansion was like a child in front of Berserker tribe. A total of 5 million prosperity pills. Awesome. Yi Xian couldn't help but laugh. Ding! Host has broken through. Host is currently at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. After consuming so many prosperity pills, Yi Xian finally heard the notification that he had leveled up. 6th level of the fulfillment realm. He opened another natal palace in his body, and his strength increased by several times. At this time, the group of Berserker tribe scorpion men in the distance were dumbfounded. Their great leader, an expert at the 7th level of the fulfillment realm, died at the hands of a human at the 5th level of the fulfillment realm. This was a challenge that surpassed their level, and 2 levels at that. Now that the great leader is dead, I think the 2nd and 3rd leaders. What should we do? Should we attack together? Are you kidding me? Didn't you see that human had a breakthrough? If we charge, we'll die. But if we don't attack, we'll be massacred after the 2nd and 3rd leaders die. Go. When has the Berserker tribe ever cowered? Kill. Several scorpion men roared at the sky and led hundreds of experts toward Yi Xian. Another bunch who aren't afraid of death, come. Yi Xian's fighting spirit was already burning. This time, he was going to face hundreds of people by himself. Kill. Yi Xian was like an arrow that had left the bow. He suddenly shot out explosively, and wherever he passed, someone would definitely fall. Although he didn't have a large group attack skill like the Sword Storm or the Berserk Python Sweep, no one was able to block Yi Xian's attack. Double Dragon Sword Bell. Twin Dragon Roar. Yi Xian was thousand dragons, thousand dragon thousand tribe. Boom! After a few dragon roars, the group of scorpion men experts all fainted. In the end, Yi Xian killed them one by one. The battle only lasted 3 seconds. In 3 seconds, Yi Xian had killed hundreds of Berserker tribe's experts. At the same time, Old Tree and Wei Zhantian's battle was coming to an end. After Yi Xian collected all the universe rings, faith crystals and corpses, Old Tree and Wei Zhantian finally finished off their opponents. The morale of the entire Berserker tribe fell to rock bottom. Right now, all of the Berserker tribe's experts were at the 3rd level of the fulfillment realm or lower. They were no match for Yi Xian, the 3 gods of slaughter. It's over. It's over. Berserker tribe is done for. The 3 leaders are dead. We're the only ones left. We're going to be swallowed up by the surrounding tribes. Forget about being swallowed up. We might not even survive today. Please save us. evil god. The berserker tribe was filled with cries and shouts. However, Yi Xian didn't want to kill them. He didn't want to kill the old, the weak, the women and the children since he had already killed so many experts. However, when Yi Xian received the second and third leader's universe rings, a figure suddenly appeared in the sky. That's the Lord Apostle. The Lord Apostle of the evil god sect has come to save us. Haha, this human is dead for sure. The Lord Apostle will definitely avenge the leader. For a time, the berserker tribe was in an uproar. When Yi Xian heard these voices, he subconsciously turned his head to look. He just so happened to see a scorpion man in a black robe quickly flying towards him. In the blink of an eye, he stepped into his perception range. An evil god apostle? Yi Xian narrowed his eyes. Traces of killing intent burst out of his eyes. Yesterday, he had encountered an evil god apostle. It was that scorpion Lu. Today there was another one. This evil god apostle definitely knew where the evil god society was. However, it wasn't that easy to control an evil god apostle. I must defeat and capture him. Then, I will use the high-efficiency flower to ask him where the evil god society is. Yi Xian thought to himself. Previously, he had the eye of control, so he didn't need to use the high-efficiency flower. However, this evil god apostle had the faith crystal in his head and couldn't be controlled. Therefore, he could only use special methods to interrogate him. Earlier, Yi Xian had already used the high-efficiency flower. This was still effective against the evil god apostle. However, it wouldn't be that easy to capture this evil god apostle. Because this evil god apostle was at the 9th level of the fulfillment realm. What's going on? The black-robed evil god apostle asked loudly as he got close to Lin Fan. Lord Apostle, this human killed the 3 leaders of our tribe and hundreds of experts. He even said that he would destroy the evil god society. Lord Apostle, please avenge us. Lord Apostle. A group of scorpions from the berserker tribe shouted. This time, the evil god apostle knew what happened. He turned to look at Yi Xian and said, "How dare you kill the evil god apostle in the evil god society's territory? Not only do I dare to kill the evil god apostle, even if the evil god was here, I would kill him without hesitation." Yi Xian looked as if he wasn't afraid of anything and started to fight with this evil god apostle. How dare you? Since that's the case, I will capture you and offer you to the evil god as a sacrifice. The evil god apostle shouted angrily and attacked. I think it's better to use insects as a sacrifice. Yi Xian also ridiculed and went to meet the evil god apostle. This evil god apostle was at the 9th level of the fulfillment realm. His strength was not to be underestimated. He wasn't someone that Yi Xian could fight against right now. Chapter 1292. However, the storm of swords and serpent sweeps cooldown was less than a day. There were still 2 days before they could be used again. Hence, Yi Xian had no choice but to join forces with the old tree and Wei Zhentian. Yi Xian had no choice but to equip the golden radiant armor for a battle of this level. Die! The fiend god apostle did not plan to fight for long. He condensed a giant scorpion tail with his true chi and manifestation force and swung it at Wei Zhentian. The whip was so fast that it landed on Wei Zhentian's body. Wei Zhentian's bones fell apart. But so what? Wei Zhentian was Yi Xian's first treasure. As long as the 3 Yi Xians did not die, Wei Zhentian would be undying. Wei Zhentian reappeared. What the hell is this? The fiend god apostle was surprised. One died, and another appeared. No matter what, he had to kill. The fiend god apostle controlled the scorpion tail and swung it at Wei Zhentian. Wei Zhentian's bones fell apart and reappeared. This was already its 3rd life. Piercing strike. The old tree took advantage of the time when the fiend god apostle was attacking Wei Zhentian to launch his strongest attack. Petty tricks, you're going to die too. The fiend god apostle swung his tail and smashed the old tree into pieces. But in the next moment, the old tree reappeared. What? The fiend god apostle was shocked. It was fine if Wei Zhentian was still alive, but why was the old tree still alive? Piercing strike. The old tree launched another attack. At the same time, Yi Xian made his move. Twin dragon roar. Yi Xian, the old tree, and Wei Zhentian attacked at the same time. But the fiend god apostle's strength was beyond their expectations. With a single whip, all 3 attacks were destroyed. Wei Zhentian was smashed into pieces again. This was the 3rd time. So what if your attack is strong? Wei Zhentian is undying. Yi Xian's eyes flickered. He released Wei Zhentian again. This time, the fiend god apostle knew where the problem was. So it's you, brat. I'll kill you first. The fiend god apostle's gaze fell on the two Yi Xian. Wei Zhentian and Old Tree were undying. Yi Xian. Humph, you found out. Yi Xian noticed the fiend god apostle's gaze. He could sense that this evil god apostle was much stronger than the average Fulfillment Realm 9th stage expert. If he had Blade Storm and Mad Python, he might have been able to take care of this evil god apostle. However, both skills were still on cooldown. It was unlikely that he could kill this evil god apostle anytime soon. Come. Yi Xian's eyes flickered twice as he put away the brilliant golden armor and quickly descended. 2. B. Dark Night Canopy. Yi Xian used a skill of the god-slaying bloodline. In this environment, his speed and combat strength increased. Brat, you do have some tricks up your sleeve. But do you think you can escape my spiritual sense? The fiend god apostle roared. Behind him, a long tail condensed from his vital energy and 10,000 mammoth force whipped down. Sand and stones flew everywhere, but it didn't hit Yi Xian. Fortunately, I activated Dark Night Canopy. Otherwise, my doppelganger would have exploded. Yi Xian couldn't help but gulp. Under such circumstances, he knew he couldn't use the Ice and Fire Twin Dragon Sword Array. What if his doppelganger exploded because he wasn't fast enough? Combine! The two Yi Xian connected and combined into one. Their overall strength increased by 50%. Unparalleled Flame Dragon Slash. The combined Yi Xian wielded the Scarlet Flame Sword and slashed down. The Flame Dragon roared, but due to the difference in realm, the Fiend God Apostle blew it up again. Every time he attacks, he consumes vital energy. Let's see if your vital energy is limitless. Yi Xian didn't say anything else and directly turned around. This time, his target was the battle-crazed tribe. In fact, he made a mistake just now. He didn't expect a 9th stage Fulfillment Realm Evil God Apostle to arrive. Otherwise, he would have started a slaughter feast before killing the great leader. That way, his combat strength would have at least doubled, and it would have been much easier to fight this evil god apostle. Unfortunately, fate always played tricks on people. But it didn't matter. On land, Yi Xian had a 90% increase in movement speed. Plus, the shadow of the Imperial Wind Dragon was a growth divine ability. The evil god apostle's attack couldn't hurt him. Moreover, Wei Zhentian and the Old Tree were constantly using their lives to deplete the evil god apostle's vital energy. Therefore, Yi Xian had a 90% chance of winning this battle. Of course, it would be best if nothing unexpected happened during this period, such as another evil god apostle. Seeing Yi Xian rush into the battle-crazed tribe, the evil god apostle roared, "Get out of my way!" Before he finished speaking, his giant scorpion tail whipped down, blasting a dozen or so scorpions from the battle-crazed tribe to pieces. In order to kill Yi Xian, this evil god apostle didn't hesitate to use any means. Although the battle-crazed tribe members were somewhat innocent, they still hated Yi Xian in their hearts. If they had the strength now, they would have definitely helped and joined forces with the evil god apostle to kill Yi Xian. Yi Xian originally thought that the evil god apostle would go easy on him because of these believers. He didn't expect the evil god apostle to be so vicious and kill his own people. It seemed that the plan had to be changed again. There are no more 4th stage Fulfillment Realm experts in the battle-crazed tribe. If I start a slaughter feast, the effect will be too low, Yi Xian quickly thought in his heart. Since that was the case, he would go to the next tribe. "Kid, don't run!" The evil god apostle behind him shouted as he attacked. "Keep chasing if you have the guts." Yi Xian shouted, occasionally turning back to release the peerless flame dragon slash. In terms of speed, Yi Xian was not slower than this evil god apostle on land. If he could maintain this situation and drag it out until the next tribe, then this evil god apostle would be dead for sure. Where did this kid come from? This is not the speed that a 6th stage Fulfillment Realm expert should have. The evil god apostle thought. Yi Xian saw his thoughtful expression and couldn't help but curse. "Big Scorpion, is your evil god a pig? If you worship him, will you slow down?" In order to maintain his hatred, he had to curse. Otherwise, what if this evil god apostle left midway? "How dare you curse the evil god? Even if I have to chase you for a year, I will kill you. The evil god apostle was provoked and began to attack wildly. Yi Xian was speechless. This hatred was really easy to attract. He just needed to curse and it would be enough. Chapter 1293. Your evil god must be a cripple. Oh, maybe he has long legs too. A 9th level fulfillment realm cultivator can't even catch up to a 6th level fulfillment realm cultivator like me. Why don't you just kill yourself? Do you want me to carve a walking stick for you? These words fell into the ears of the evil god apostle. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. He wanted nothing more than to chase after Yi Xian and stab Yi Xian 1,000 holes with his scorpion tail. Soon, the duo was far away from the Berserker tribe. Yi Xian remembered that there was a slightly weaker tribe next to the Berserker tribe. It was said to be founded by the younger brother of the Berserker tribe's great leader. There were more than 1,000 people in that tribe, and they also had a 7th level fulfillment realm expert. That was the place where the evil god apostle had fallen. It only took an hour to travel from the Berserker tribe to the 100 Battle tribe. Yi Xian did his best to weaken the evil god apostle during this time. However, judging from the evil god apostle's resentment and attack frequency, his true qi would be reduced by 1/3 in an hour. When that happened, Yi Xian would have the chance to kill him. Of course, Yi Xian wouldn't have used up so much of his true qi if he lured the evil god apostle alone. Wei Zhentian and the old tree also played a part in this. They were using their lives to wear down the evil god apostle. Damn it, what are this green heavenly dragon and the old tree? Why can't I kill them? The evil god apostle couldn't help but wonder as he chased after Yi Xian. Wei Zhentian and the old tree had died 100 times in total. However, they couldn't die no matter how many times they revived. Although the evil god apostle didn't know why, he knew that it had something to do with Yi Xian. All he had to do was kill Yi Xian. However, he couldn't catch up with Wei Zhentian and the old tree blocking his way. This kid's true qi seems to be inexhaustible. He can use it whenever he wants. What's his secret? The evil god apostle narrowed his eyes. Originally, he wanted to capture Yi Xian as a sacrifice, but after Yi Xian cursed the evil god, he wanted to kill Yi Xian to vent his anger. But now, he suddenly wanted to capture Yi Xian. This human had many secrets that the evil god would definitely be interested in. I don't believe that your true qi won't dry up. The evil god apostle decided to continue pursuing Yi Xian. Time slowly passed. Rumble. Somewhere in the desert of despair, a few figures were fighting. At this time, more than half an hour had passed. During this time, Yi Xian, the old tree, and Wei Zhentian were constantly attacking the evil apostle behind them. This caused the evil apostle to be unable to catch up and could only defend himself. This kid's Zhen Qi and natal Zhen Qi seem to be inexhaustible. Could it be that he has a way to store Zhen Qi? Along the way, the heretic god apostle racked his brains, but he couldn't come up with anything. Perhaps the evil god knew the reason, but how could he meet the evil god empty-handed? Right, there's 100 Battle tribe up ahead. When the time comes, I can ask them to intercept this kid. The evil god apostle suddenly thought of this. Every evil god apostle had a territory in the desert of despair. He happened to be in charge of this area, so he was naturally familiar with the territories under his command. Coincidentally, Yi Xian was a human, so the evil god apostle guessed that Yi Xian didn't know this. But what he didn't know was that not only did Yi Xian know, but he also wanted to use the 100 Battle tribe to kill him. Almost there. After a while, Yi Xian, who was acting as bait, thought to himself. It seemed that the time to kill this evil god apostle had come. This kid really did pass by the 100 Battle tribe. Just in time, I'll capture you and present you to the Lord Evil God. The evil god apostle thought to himself. He narrowed his eyes and saw the 100 Battle tribe up ahead. Evil god apostle, Xiefeng, 100 Battle tribe members, come out and welcome me. The evil god apostle shouted to the sky. Using his vital energy to spread his voice was much faster than the speed. In an instant, everyone in the 100 Battle tribe heard it. What? The Lord Apostle is here. Quick, go out and welcome him. Haha, maybe he came to our 100 Battle tribe to choose people to serve the evil god. The 100 Battle tribe was instantly in an uproar. They rushed out in the direction of the voice and saw Yi Xian and the other two quickly approaching, as well as the evil god apostle, Xiefeng. Seeing so many people rushing out, Yi Xian's lips curled up slightly. This evil god apostle really helped him a lot. Old tree, Wei Zhentian, Luo Luo, are you ready? Yi Xian asked in his mind. Sigh, we've died hundreds of times already. We're ready. Young master, kill this evil god apostle. Old tree replied. Young master, this evil god apostle has been chasing you for so long, kill him. Luo Luo said angrily in the planting space. All right, everyone get ready. Yi Xian nodded. At this time, the evil god apostle behind him shouted again, 100 Battle Tribe, help me capture this evil god sacrifice, there will be great rewards. When these words entered the ears of the 100 Battle Tribe's experts, their fighting spirit boiled. The evil god apostle was asking for their help to capture an evil god sacrifice. Kill. Instantly, this group of people charged at Yi Xian with bloodshot eyes. Yi Xian quickly scanned with his eye of revelation and found that only a dozen people in the 100 Battle Tribe had faith crystals in their heads. It seemed that they were the first batch of believers. When the evil god cult first started to spread, faith crystals were not easy to obtain, so they planted some in each tribe first. As the faith crystals were mass-produced, they were added one by one. This territory belonged to Xiefeng. This time, he came out with tens of thousands of faith crystals, preparing to convert everyone in the territory into evil god followers. This 100 Battle Tribe was one of his destinations. Haha, Xiefeng, you're finished. Yi Xian couldn't help but laugh a few times, and activated a skill, Killing Feast. At the same time, Luo Luo suddenly appeared between him and the 100 Battle Tribe army. Let me show you my power. With the help of the purified faith crystals, Luo Luo had broken through to the 5th level of the fulfillment realm. At this time, she muttered a sentence, and an eye of enchantment appeared above her head. In the blink of an eye, dozens of people were charmed, and almost all of them were 5th level fulfillment realm experts. Then, this group of 5th level fulfillment realm experts suddenly attacked the people around them. After a wave of attacks, dozens of 100 Battle Tribe experts fell from the sky. You charmed so many people at once? The evil god apostle was stunned. He had heard of the Eye of Enchantment before, but he didn't expect it to be so powerful. At the same time, he was shocked. Where did Yi Xian find this fox lowly? But this wasn't the end. Chapter 1294. Eye of Control. Eye of Control. Eye of Control. After specially devouring 2 eyes of myriad forms, Yi Xian's heavenly eye had advanced once, and its effect had increased once again. Now it could control a total of 30 people. Moreover, he was at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm, so controlling others of the same level was not a problem. However, the 6th level of the fulfillment realm scorpion men were the first batch of disciples, so Yi Xian could only control the 5th level of the fulfillment realm. If Luo Luo was included, the two of them could control almost all of the 5th level of the fulfillment realm experts of the 100 Wars tribe. Boom! 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 Amidst the 100 Battles tribe's crowd, a reign of terror was set off. Quick, kill them. Don't show mercy. The leader of the 100 Wars tribe shouted. He knew that his tribesmen were controlled by the enemy and had to be killed. At this time, Yi Xian had already received hundreds of system notifications. The Killing Feast's buff had increased to 50%. This meant that Yi Xian's combat power was now 1.5 times stronger than before. If I kill them all, the buff will increase by at least 2 times. Yi Xian suddenly sped up and rushed into the crowd of 100 Wars tribe. The 2 6th level fulfillment realm experts, Old Tree and Wei Zhentian, followed closely behind. Killing Intent Explosion. Peerless Flame Dragon Slash. A flame dragon flew out and attacked the 7th level fulfillment realm leader of 100 Wars tribe. The leader of 100 Wars tribe thought that the evil god apostles were after Wei Zhentian and Old Tree, so he did not pay much attention to Yi Xian. However, he did not expect that Yi Xian, who was at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm, was probably the strongest of the group. In an instant, he was devoured by the flame dragon and turned to ash. Ding, the host's killing intent has increased. A system notification sounded. The leader of 100 Wars tribe increased the buff of the killing feast by 20%. If one person increased the buff by 20%, then 10 of them would increase Yi Xian's strength by 2 times and triple his combat power. Previously, Yi Xian had given Wei Zhentian and the others the order to kill all of them. After they charged into the 100 Battles tribe's army, they went all out. Including the dozens of 5th and 4th level fulfillment realm experts, the upper echelons of the 100 Wars tribe were all dead in just 2 to 3 seconds. Although so many people had died, Scorpion Wind was not sad at all. He only had one goal, and that was to capture Yi Xian. It just so happened that these people were holding back Yi Xian. "Brat, you're dead." Xie Feng gathered all his strength and rushed to Yi Xian. "I'm not the one who died." Yi Xian widened his eyes. His aura surged once again because all the people he and Luo had controlled had committed suicide. At this moment, Yi Xian's buff had exactly doubled, which meant that he could exhibit twice as much combat power. Boom! Yi Xian and Xie Feng clashed at close range. Their lifeblood true energies collided and exploded into an unprecedented shockwave. Even Luo was swept away. An hour ago, Yi Xian's attacks had been easily defeated by Xie Feng. But now, Yi Xian could actually fight Xie Feng head-on. This change gave Wind Scorpion a fright. How did this brat's strength nearly double? Xie Feng found it hard to believe. A bad feeling suddenly rose in his heart, and he smelled danger from Yi Xian. He'd originally planned to capture Yi Xian, but Yi Xian's strength had suddenly skyrocketed. That was why he'd attacked with all his strength. If he hadn't, he probably would have been sent flying. "Brat, I don't care what you've done. I'm going to capture you and offer you to the demon god." Xie Feng's eyes flashed. The scorpion tail behind him shot out and stabbed at Yi Xian. The tail needles of the scorpion men were either lethal or paralyzing. There were only two kinds. But in comparison, paralyzing poison was much more useful than lethal poison. The poison took effect faster, and as long as the opponent was paralyzed, he could decide whether to kill them or cut them up. Yi Xian had seen Xie Feng's poisonous needles before. Those were dangerous things that had turned the old tree into ashes. That was why Yi Xian had been paying special attention to them from the start. "You think I can fight with just my hands?" Yi Xian sneered, his eyes suddenly flashing. "Disintegration Eye. BZZT." Two disintegration rays accurately shot at the tail needles, disintegrating them instantly, along with a section of the scorpion tail. "What?" Xie Feng was shocked. If not for the pain in his brain, he would have thought his eyes were playing tricks on him. The tail of the scorpion men was the most difficult part to recover, especially the tail needles. "I'll kill you." Scorpion Feng was enraged. A powerful Wanxiang force suddenly surged out and directly smashed onto Yi Xian's body. Bang! Yi Xian spat out a mouthful of blood and was instantly sent flying. But before that, his eyes flashed again. "Eye of Nirvana." Whoosh! A Nirvana cut through the air. Xie Feng was shocked and dodged. Rip! With a crisp sound, Xie Feng's left arm was chopped off. He didn't expect that after suffering once, he would actually suffer a second time. But now wasn't the time to care about that. It didn't matter that he had suffered twice. What mattered was whether he would suffer again in the future. "I only have 1/3 of my genuine qi left, but this kid seems to have endless genuine qi. I'm afraid Xie Feng's brain spun quickly. At this moment, he suddenly had the thought of retreating. Where there's life, there's life. His life was in danger today. He might as well take revenge another day. "Let's go." Xie Feng quickly turned around. He was at the 9th level of the fulfillment realm, and yet he was forced to retreat by Yi Xian, who was at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. It was humiliating. However, when he turned around, he saw two figures. They were the old tree and Wei Zhentian. "You think you can stop me?" Xie Feng sneered. "Then try this." Yi Xian suddenly split into two. Two heavenly dragons of ice and fire appeared and spat out their dragon breaths at the same time. Twin Dragon Roar. Xie Feng had easily defeated Yi Xian's previous attack, but now that Xie Feng wasn't at his peak, and Yi Xian was twice as strong as before, Yi Xian didn't think it would be easy to withstand this attack. So powerful. Xie Feng's expression darkened. He knew that he couldn't withstand this attack in his current state, but there was another kind of power inside his body. Hum! A slight sound was heard. The faith crystal in Wind Scorpion's mind suddenly trembled. Boom! The twin dragons roared and approached. Xie Feng didn't move and was devoured. However, Yi Xian didn't hear the system notification. This meant that Xie Feng wasn't dead. Chapter 1295. He's not blocking or dodging. He's still alive even after being hit. What trump card did Wind Scorpion use? Yi Xian furrowed his brow as he pondered quickly. He had estimated that Wind Scorpion wouldn't be able to withstand the dual dragon roar, but he did. It seemed that he had used some sort of trick. Xian hurriedly used his eye of insight to take a look. He discovered that a protective membrane had actually appeared outside of the scorpion wind's body. It was precisely because of this protective membrane that Xian was safe and sound. What's this? Xian sized him up with narrowed eyes. As it turned out, this protective barrier was formed from the faith crystal in Wind Scorpion's mind. Soon, the dual dragon roar stopped. Wind Scorpion didn't die from the attack. Thank goodness we both have a strand of the evil god's will, or I would have died. Wind Scorpion sighed in relief. But when he turned around, he heard the sound of something breaking through the air behind him. Gotcha! Wei Zhentian and Old Tree combined into a tough armor that covered Wind Scorpion's body. What? Wind Scorpion didn't notice that his consciousness was completely blocked when he was swallowed by the dual dragon roar. Get lost! Furious, Wind Scorpion circulated his true chi and shook it. Bam! The armor formed by Wei Zhentian and Old Tree had 2 layers of protection. Wind Scorpion's lifeblood true chi and 10,000 mammoths power couldn't shake it off even once. He couldn't even move. His true chi was completely blocked. Dang! In the distance, Xian had already gathered a second wave of true chi. As the 2 heavenly dragons opened their mouths, another dual dragon roar roared out. Boom! This time, Wind Scorpion couldn't block it and was instantly swallowed. Of course, Wei Zhentian and Old Tree had unlocked the armor before this, exposing Wind Scorpion's front so that he could take the full brunt of the attack. Ding! Host's killing intent has increased. Finally, the system's notification rang, proving that Wind Scorpion was really dead this time. It's not easy to kill a 9th-level fulfillment realm cultivator. Xian sighed in his heart. Sigh, this old man has lived for so long, but this is the first time I've been accidentally killed by my own people. It's also the first time I've died hundreds of times in one day. The Old Tree's voice rang in Xian's mind. The Old Tree and Wei Zhentian, who had been refined into magic treasures, would instantly repair their bodies in the artifact space every time they died. This time, in order to let Xian kill Scorpion Wind, the Old Tree and Wei Zhentian both volunteered to go up. However, Old Tree and Wei Zhentian had been killed by Scorpion Wind several hundred times before coming here, so this wasn't a big deal. Thank you, Old Tree. Xian hurriedly expressed his gratitude. Then, he used the power of all creations to retrieve Wind Scorpion's Faith Crystal and Cosmos Ring. This piece of Faith Crystal was the largest piece that Xian had ever seen. It was even bigger than the Berserker tribe's leader. It was estimated that its value was not low. However, compared to the Faith Crystal in the interspatial ring, it was simply not worth mentioning. Holy shit! More than 20,000 Faith Crystals. Xian jumped in fright. This vote was more than the Faith Crystals he had received before. With these Faith Crystals, I can at least reach the 8th level of the Fulfillment Realm. Luo said. All right, take it and purify it slowly. Since only Luo could absorb the Faith Crystals, Xian threw all of them to Luo. Next, it was time to examine the Evil God Apostle's interspatial ring. To Xian's surprise, the interspatial ring contained a large amount of ores. Ding! Wei Zhentian has broken through. He is currently at the 8th level of the Fulfillment Realm. Xian consumed these ores without hesitation. Then, Wei Zhentian broke through first and reached the 8th level of the Fulfillment Realm. What's going on? Why does this evil god apostle have so many ores? Is he trying to forge something? Xian was very surprised. Then, he found another item in the interspatial ring. It was a map. There was only one mark on this map. It was in the shape of a round table. However, the remark next to the mark caused Xian to tremble. The evil god's altar? Xian murmured and guessed. Are these ores to be used to forge the evil god's altar? When he thought up to this point, Xian hurriedly asked Luo who had inherited memories. The evil god's altar? Luo thought for a moment and then answered, the evil god is the ancestor of the Scorpion Man race. However, the evil god cult was destroyed last time, so the power of faith was lost. Now that the evil god has reappeared, he can mass-produce the evil god's faith crystals as long as this altar is built. Not only that, the believers can come to this evil god's altar to worship and contribute their power of faith to the evil god. They can then obtain strength feedback. She explained very clearly. Xian and Old Tree understood immediately. This means that the evil god's altar hasn't been built yet.
Yi Xian narrowed his eyes and began to think.
Oh, that's right. The evil gods can only descend after the evil god's altar is built. At that time, there may be a person who carries the evil god's will.
Luo suddenly said.
Is the evil god's will just a remnant thought?
Yi Xian frowned and asked.
Yes. Although I don't know what realm the evil god is at, he can easily create countless remnant thoughts. However, there's no need to worry now because even if it's just a remnant thought, not just anyone can carry it. Unless the person's realm is high, they have to find a specific physique. Luo continued. Yi Xian could understand this. If a remnant of the evil god's will was separated and carried by a manifestation realm martial practitioner, the manifestation realm martial practitioner's soul would be instantly obliterated. The martial practitioner might even explode and die. Simply put, the carrier's realm couldn't be too low. Let's not talk about this for now. Right now, the evil god cult in the Desert of Despair wants to build the evil god's altar.
If they succeed, the evil god cult will expand in this area and it will be very disadvantageous to the surrounding forces.
Yi Xian didn't care so much for the time being. He wasn't a saint and those people's lives had nothing to do with him. However, he needed the evil god cult's faith crystal, so he had to go and take a look. Most importantly, the direction of the evil god's altar seemed to be the same as the Xianming duo. Moreover, the distance was about the same.
Xianming duo, I've finally found you.
Yi Xian couldn't help but smile. He never thought that there would be such a coincidence in this world. He was thinking, could the Xianming duo be helping the evil god cult build the evil god's altar? No matter what, Yi Xian had found a clue. The evil god's altar was very important to the evil god cult, so the evil god cult should be there. Therefore, his next target was the evil god's altar. With my speed, I'll need at least 2 days to get there. This is just right. The cooldown of Bladestorm and Wild Python's sweep will be over. Chapter 1296. Yi Xian would only dare to go to the evil god's altar when his 2 trump cards, Bladestorm and Wild Python, were off cooldown. After all, if an evil god apostle was at the 9th level of the fulfillment realm, then the evil god cult leader in the Desert of Despair must be at the 4th level of the piercing realm, the fragmentation realm. The fulfillment realm opened 9 natal palaces and condensed one's natal true energy. The fragmentation realm shattered all 9 natal palaces and used their natal true energy to strengthen their physique. The first level of the fragmentation realm shattered 1 natal palace, the second level shattered 2 natal palaces, and the 9th level shattered all 9 natal palaces. The gap between the realms was huge. I'm only at the 6th level of the fulfillment realm. I'm afraid I'll be instantly killed by a fragmentation realm expert. That's why I must reach the 7th level of the fulfillment realm or even the 8th level before going to the evil god's altar. Yi Xian thought to himself. Fortunately, it would take at least 2 days to reach the evil god's altar from here. It wouldn't be a problem for him to reach the 7th level of the fulfillment realm in 2 days. Yi Xian glanced at the group of scorpion men from the 100 War tribe, who were shocked to the point of losing their souls, then directly flew into the distance. Under normal circumstances, Yi Xian didn't want to attack the old, weak, women, and children. Yi Xian had finally found a clue to the Dark Nether duo demons, so he naturally had to follow quickly. Otherwise, there would be no end to the trouble. They could make Yi Xian unable to move with a single order. The evil god's altar was to be built in a dangerous place in the Desert of Despair. This dangerous place was called the Valley of Despair, and there were many dangerous heaven-piercing beasts there. However, since the evil god cult wanted to build the evil god's altar there, they naturally had to kill or drive away those heaven-piercing beasts. On the way to the Valley of Despair, Yi Xian intentionally searched for the Scorpion Men tribes. Some of these Scorpion Men tribes only had the upper echelons become believers, while some were full of evil god cult members. Yi Xian didn't show the slightest bit of mercy towards these people from the evil god society, because he'd heard some things about the evil god society from Luo. The evil god cult was very terrifying once they spread, because they captured people wantonly and then forcibly planted faith crystals. This method was a little similar to Yi Xian's Eye of Control. Previously, he had used the Eye of Control to make the controlled person lure others out. However, Yi Xian was only one person, so the effect was much worse than that of the evil god cult. Moreover, the evil god cult members would annihilate the entire tribe and the entire sect if they heard anyone say anything bad about the evil god. Very quickly, a day after Yi Xian rushed to the evil god's altar, he finally broke through to the 7th level of the fulfillment realm. At the same time, Luo Luo and Elder Shu had also broken through.
The former had broken through to the 7th level of the fulfillment realm, and the latter had broken through to the 8th level of the fulfillment realm just like Wei Zhentian.
Yi Xian was practically invincible in the fulfillment realm, but he wasn't confident in dealing with a fragmentation realm cultivator. After another day, Yi Xian finally arrived at the vicinity of the evil god's altar, the Wall of Despair. He didn't dare to get any closer because there were people all around him. Yi Xian couldn't help but be speechless. Yi Xian saw a lot of evil god apostles with the Eye of Revelation. They were all at least at the 8th level of the fulfillment realm, and there were many at the 9th level. There were more than 300 of them, and at least 50 of them were at the 9th level of the fulfillment realm. At the same time, Yi Xian also saw a few people that even he couldn't see through. Fragmentation realm. Fragmentation realm as expected. Yi Xian swallowed his saliva as he hid in a dark corner and observed. He looked around and calculated that there were about 4 fragmentation realm experts. There was also a black-robed man who looked even stronger. It seemed that this black-robed man was the Pope. However, Yi Xian wasn't most concerned about the evil god cult right now. The Xianming duo demons are under the evil god's altar. Yi Xian saw the bloody word, kill. He thought that the Xianming duo demons were helping the evil god cult, but now it seemed that they were captured and sacrificed to the evil god. The Xianming duo demons were suppressed by the altar. Yi Xian couldn't use the Eye of Assassination to teleport them down. Even if he couldn't come out. I don't have a random mission now. Killing the Xianming duo demons is just fulfilling my promise to Mo Shui. Yi Xian suddenly thought of this. His plan was to destroy the evil god cult first, then kill the Xianming duo demons to settle a knot in his heart. However, at this moment, the sound of a system notification suddenly rang out. Ding! Host has triggered a random mission. Destroy the evil god's altar before it's completed. Countdown to completion of the evil god's altar. 1 day and 3 hours. This random mission shocked Yi Xian. Destroy the evil god's altar in 1 day? That was too difficult. Yi Xian clenched his teeth as he pondered in his heart. With our current strength, if we were to kill our way out, we wouldn't even be able to deal with these evil god apostles. Unless those few fragmentation realm experts aren't here. If they couldn't even deal with these evil gods apostles, how could they deal with those fragmentation realm experts? Destroying the evil god's altar was a fantasy mission. However, since this random mission appeared, it meant that he had a chance of completing it. Wait! At this time, Yi Xian suddenly thought of something. The evil god's altar had a countdown of 1 day and 3 hours. If he went to disturb it, the construction speed would slow down, and then the construction time would increase. I see. Thinking of this, Yi Xian's lips curled up slightly. He had completed many random missions, but at the same time, he had also failed a few. But every time, he had to complete a random mission. He was determined to complete this evil god's altar mission. The sky is going to darken soon. This is beneficial to me. Yi Xian had the god-slaying bloodline, and the assassination status of the god-slaying bloodline was very useful. It gave Yi Xian a powerful concealment skill, and even increased his movement speed and combat strength under the cover of night. It was a divine skill. But at this time, he suddenly thought of another problem. Why didn't the random mission mention the reward this time? Could it be that the reward for completing this random mission is not fixed and will change according to the time I complete it? If I can destroy the evil god's altar in 1 hit, then I can get the best reward. Yi Xian's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately understood. Now, he didn't dare to hesitate and immediately sneaked over. At the same time, he quickly formulated a plan in his mind. This environment was very suitable for assassination. If there was a bait, then it would be even better. As for the bait, it was naturally the 2 undying treasures, Wei Zhentian and the old tree. Haha, this evil god's altar is so big. If you devour it, young master, you might be able to break through to the 9th level of the fulfillment realm. The old tree laughed in his mind. Old tree, I'll have to trouble you to be the bait later. Chapter 1297. It doesn't matter. I've already gotten used to it. If we can take down the evil god altar, the little girl might be able to obtain a large amount of faith crystals and break through to the fragmentation realm. Old tree said. Indeed, this battle was extremely important. Therefore, Yi Xian had to be fully prepared. Otherwise, it would be troublesome if a fragmentation realm expert appeared. The time after the random mission was decreasing bit by bit. This time would change according to the changes in reality. For example, during the construction of the evil god altar, if a 9th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostle suddenly broke through to the fragmentation realm, the construction speed would be greatly reduced. After all, after the evil god apostle broke through, the construction speed of the evil god altar would increase. As for the time required to complete the random mission, Yi Xian had already noted it down. At this time, several seconds had already passed. For the sake of convenience, I will first locate the 4 directions of the evil god altar and weaken their strength bit by bit. Yi Xian thought inwardly. He began to circle around the evil god altar and left a location in the void. The current eye of the void could locate a total of 6 locations. The evil god altar had to refresh 4 locations. The last location was 1 hour away from the evil god altar. Yi Xian set that location as a safety precaution. A few minutes later, Yi Xian successfully located the location. Then, the next step was to start the operation. "Old tree, I'll have to trouble you," Yi Xian said to Old Tree. "No problem. Wei Zhentian, follow me." Old Tree nodded and then left with Wei Zhentian. Yi Xian, on the other hand, fled into the darkness. Rumble. Soon, a series of rumbling sounds came from not far away. This was the sound of Old Tree and Wei Zhentian fighting. The commotion attracted the attention of the group of evil god apostles who were building the evil god altar. "I reckon that some of them slipped through the net. You guys, go and take a look." A 9th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostle said to a few 8th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostles around him. The fish that escaped the net he was referring to were the heaven-reaching beasts in the Wall Valley of Despair. Before they built the evil god altar, they had killed or driven away all the heaven-reaching beasts in the Wall Valley of the evil god. Yes. In an instant, 3 fiend god apostles left the fiend god altar and flew over. The Old Tree and Wei Zhentian were still moving, attracting the attention of these 3 people. However, what the 3 of them did not know was that danger was quietly approaching them. When they were some distance away from the evil god altar, Yi Xian, who was hiding in the darkness, suddenly made his move. Rip! 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 3 crisp sounds rang in the air as Yi Xian beheaded all 3 8th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostles. Triple kill. After that, the Old Tree and Wei Zhentian stopped for the time being. Yi Xian quickly collected the corpse and the universe ring. Then, he glanced at the mission panel. These 3 people died, but the construction of the evil god's altar was not delayed? Yi Xian was shocked. He thought about it for a moment. It seemed that these 3 people had not contributed to the construction of the evil god altar. Or rather, there was too much manpower for the construction of the evil god altar. "Old Tree, Wei Zhentian, you 2 continue," Yi Xian said in his mind. "At the evil god altar. Why is it not done yet? You guys go and take a look." The 9th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostle ordered a few more apostles to go over. He guessed that the 9th-level fulfillment realm heaven-reaching beast was the cause. Very soon, 4 more 8th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostles flew over. However, they were all killed by Yi Xian not long after. At this time, a minute had passed. Yi Xian had killed 7 8th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostles, but he was unable to delay the construction of the evil god altar. The 9th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostle was surprised when he saw that the 7 of them had not returned. He decided to take action himself. "That 9th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostle is coming. Old Tree, Wei Zhentian, stay away," Yi Xian hurriedly reminded them. He could kill an 8th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostle without being discovered. However, it was not that easy to kill a 9th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostle. It would be bad if he was exposed. Therefore, he had to keep a distance even if it would waste some time. After Old Tree and Wei Zhentian received the order, they fought and ran at the same time. The 9th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostle focused on the direction of the sound and let down his guard. Yi Xian calculated the distance and then sneaked over. Eye of Glory. Killing Intent Eruption. Twin Dragon Roar. Suddenly, the sound of wind appeared. What? The 9th-level fulfillment realm evil god apostle was shocked. He turned his head and was shocked. He could not block this power. Fortunately, he had a life-saving skill. With the Eye of Revelation, Yi Xian saw the faith crystal in his target's mind tremble violently. Then, a strange energy enveloped his target. Boom! The twin dragon roar devoured the 9th level fulfillment realm evil god apostle but could not hurt him. However, even if he could block it once, could he block it a second time? When the twin dragon roar stopped, Xian happened to gather a second batch of vital energy. At the same time, the old tree and Wei Zhentian were recalled by Xian and appeared next to the 9th level fulfillment realm evil god apostle. Crack! Before the evil god apostle could react, they turned into 2 layers of shackles and trapped him. Killing intent eruption. Twin dragon roar. This attack killed 3 people. Wei Zhentian and the old tree died to this attack again. They were accidentally killed by Xian a second time. However, the moment they died, they were reborn in the artifact space. This time, the commotion was bigger, so Xian hurriedly put away the items and slipped into the darkness. 9th level fulfillment realm is the 9th level fulfillment realm. There are still a lot of ores and materials in the universe ring. A few more attacks and Wei Zhentian will be able to break through to the 9th level fulfillment realm. Xian narrowed his eyes and thought as he moved. If Wei Zhentian broke through to the 9th level fulfillment realm, he would have a higher chance of winning against a fragmentation realm expert. At the same time, after the 9th level fulfillment realm evil god apostle died, Xian quickly glanced at the quest panel and found that the time on it had finally been extended. There were hundreds of 8th level fulfillment realm evil god apostles, and only 59th level fulfillment realm evil god apostles. Now that one of them was dead, the construction of the evil god altar would naturally slow down. If I kill all the evil god cult members, then the construction time will be extended indefinitely. I wonder how much longer it will take if I kill a fragmentation realm expert. Xian continued to think. The current random quest had a total of 2 times. The first was the construction time of the evil god altar. This could change. It could be faster or longer. Chapter 1298. Xian had caused a huge commotion just now. Someone at the evil god altar must have noticed it, so this time, Xian wanted to change the angle. The evil god altar was very big, and there were all kinds of patterns on it. The evil god cult would need to kill a lot of sacrifices, hang up their blood, and then set up a formation. The blood would flow to the blood pool at the center of the evil god altar, and inside the blood pool was a statue of the evil god. Of course, the statue of the evil god was still under construction. In short, Xian had to kill these evil god apostles to delay the construction time. Xian went along the evil god altar to another corner, and then used the same method as before. He first made some noise to lure the evil god apostles over, and then killed them one by one. Earlier, Xian had divided the evil god altar into 4 big areas, and each big area had 3 corners. There were a total of 12 corners, and it was a bit like a clock. Just now, he was at the 6 o'clock direction, but this time, he directly skipped the 5 o'clock direction and came to the 4 o'clock direction corner, just in case. Rumble! Wei Zhentian and Old Tree were fighting one-on-one, and the commotion here attracted the attention of the evil god apostles on the evil god altar. With his current strength, as long as he didn't encounter a fragmentation realm expert, then he wouldn't be a threat. As long as he had another breakthrough, he was confident that he could deal with a fragmentation realm expert. Soon, the 4 o'clock direction of the evil god altar was cleared out by Xian. There was a 9th stage fulfillment realm evil god apostles, and 6 8th stage fulfillment realm evil god apostles. These people were just a hair from 9 oxen compared to the total number of people on the altar, so they wouldn't attract the attention of others for the time being. After clearing out the 4 o'clock direction, Xian skipped the 3 o'clock and came to the 2 o'clock direction. Then, he used the same method to deal with the evil god apostles on this side of the altar. I've dealt with 3 batches in total, and finally delayed the construction for an hour. Xian thought to himself. He spent 15 minutes to kill 3 9th stage fulfillment realm evil god apostles and 28th stage fulfillment realm evil god apostles, and successfully delayed the construction of the evil god altar to 1 day and 4 hours. Although it seemed like there was plenty of time, don't forget that the reward was calculated from the moment the random quest was accepted. The reward would become worse and worse as time passed. In order to obtain a better reward, Xian didn't want to be negligent for even a moment. 12 o'clock direction. Xian continued to move. This was his 4th target. In A's evil god altars 12 o'clock, and Xian's. And Xian's. Xian thought. And. Of Yi. Of course, Yi of him. If he, and Yi God, and Yi Yi. Yi Yi Yi. And Yi Yi Yi. 8. Zai Yi S. 2 to be. It wasn't impossible to destroy the evil god altar in one day. After the 12 o'clock direction was cleared, Yi Xian quickly went to the 10 o'clock direction and continued. However, in another corner of the evil god's altar, someone discovered something amiss. Strange. Where did the people go? A scorpion man wearing black clothes said with a frown. The evil god altar was so important that even he didn't dare to neglect it. Yet, there were people who dared to slack off. They were courting death. He immediately rushed out, wanting to find those slackers and give them a good scolding.
However, when he reached the outside, he scanned the area with his spiritual sense and found a trace of blood.
This is the blood of my scorpion man race. Someone was killed. The scorpion man elder's eyes flashed. He quickly looked to the sky and shouted, "Everyone be careful. There may be powerful heaven-reaching beasts around. They are suspected to be in the fragmentation realm." Logically speaking, the heaven-reaching beasts in the Wall Valley of Despair should have been killed or driven away by them. However, now that there were casualties, his first reaction was still the heaven-reaching beasts. After all, they didn't spend too much effort to search the entire Wall Valley of Despair. His voice spread throughout the entire evil god altar and entered everyone's ears. At the same time, Yi Xian, who was hiding in the darkness, also heard it. They found out that we're short of people? Yi Xian raised his eyebrows. At this time, he just finished clearing the people in the 10 o'clock direction. If he had 5 more minutes, Wei Zhentian would be able to break through to the fulfillment realm. However, to be safe, he decided to hide for a while because the evil god altar in front of him seemed to be causing a ruckus. There are fragmentation realm heaven-reaching beasts in the Wall Valley of Despair. How unexpected. It seems that they are starting to fight back because we invaded their territory. Don't worry. We have 4 enforcers patrolling the area and an elder in the center. These heaven-reaching beasts won't dare to come in. Humph. If they come in, they will be sacrificed to the evil god. The evil god apostles chatted as they worked. At the same time, they were more cautious than before. At this time, outside the evil god altar, a fragmentation realm expert has started patrolling. Let's stay away for now. Yi Xian thought in his heart as he quickly retreated into the distance. After patrolling the evil god's altar for a week, that fragmentation realm expert once again returned to work. He believed that the shout just now had scared off that heaven-reaching beast. After all, heaven-reaching beasts were also intelligent. About 5 minutes later, Yi Xian continued to approach. Wei Zhentian can break through to the 9th level of the fulfillment realm after clearing 2 more corners. I still need to clear more than half of the area before I can break through to the 8th level of the fulfillment realm. Yi Xian's eyes flashed, and he moved again. Boom boom boom. Wei Zhentian and Old Tree started fighting again. The sound reached the evil god altar. The heaven-reaching beasts are here again? They really won't give up. Let's go together. With Lord Xiechong leading us, what can a fragmentation realm heaven-reaching beast do? A group of evil god apostles moved toward the direction of the sound. The 9th level fulfillment realm evil god apostle was called Xiechong. His realm was infinitely close to the fragmentation realm, and his strength was ranked in the top 10 among the 9th level fulfillment realm experts. The group was planning to kill the heaven-reaching beast together and then return to claim the credit. However, they didn't expect that it wasn't the heaven-reaching beast that was causing trouble, but a human. 7 8th level fulfillment realm experts, and 1 9th level fulfillment realm expert. It seems that I can't kill them in one hit. Yi Xian scanned with his eye of revelation and immediately saw through the enemy's strength. Previously, the enemy had only sent 3 or 4 people to deliver benefits. It was the first time that an entire squad had come. Well, since they've been exposed, then so be it. I have the Eye of the Void anyway.